Welcome to the Saturday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Saturday morning. Um, Good morning, Renardus. Hope you're doing all right. Today, and Saturday Caturday, we're gonna take it a little bit slow. Both of us have been feeling quite, quite messed up. In fact, I have quite the story yesterday. Yesterday honestly felt like an eternity. I thought yesterday was never going to end. Um, I thought that like it honestly feels like I haven't streamed in like a week. That's how long yesterday lasted for me. Um, and I have no real explanation as to what happened yesterday. I've been trying to go over it in my head, but basically the TLDR of that was that I woke up incredibly disoriented, nauseous, dizzy, and I was like, this is really, really weird. This isn't normal. I've never woken up like this. And I decided to like check because my parents had given me one of those like little CVS like blood pressure things. And I'm like, something's not right here because I feel incredibly drained, lethargic, nauseous, to a degree, dizzy. And I was like, I think this has to do with blood pressure. So I decided to check my blood pressure, and it was like below low levels. Like there are low levels, and then there's below low levels. That's where I was. I was like, when I woke up, I was pushing numbers of like 80 over 50 something. That's not good. That's not normal by any stretch of the imagination. Normal blood pressure usually gets up into the triple digits. Depending on your body type, because some people are naturally very, very, very low blood pressure. They're just naturally low, but I was even below that. And I was like, wait a minute, this can't be right. So I sent that to my sister, who is a nurse, and she was like, what did you do? Like, what did you take? Did you take anything? Were you drinking? Like, what did you, like, she immediately started asking me a whole bunch of questions because she was like, this isn't normal. Like, what did you do? What did you take? How much? Like, everything. Like, she just started, like, asking me all these questions. And, positive energy, yes. I just saw that. And within about an hour, I took it again and it rose to like 90 something. And at that point, it stayed there the entire day. And I felt honestly like the best way to describe it is like if you donated a lot of blood, you know, you went to one of those like blood donations buses, those like blood buses, the one blood buses, and you donate a lot of blood and you kind of like feel that woozy, kind of dizzy kind of deal if you donate too much. That's what I was feeling, and then it started to progress, and at right before I went to sleep, I got the most massive migraine because I laid down. I laid down for a few minutes, and like the moment I laid down, I just got this massive migraine, and I noticed that I was getting cold. So I was like, oh no, my blood pressure is going down again, because it's a pretty good indication that you're not getting, you know, enough flow if you're like feeling very cold. And I was like, well, if I have to go to urgent care, just, you know. So I just took an Aleve, melatonin, and went to sleep, and I woke up and I'm okay now, kind of. I still feel like a little tired, but I'm at least in my personal experience, I've never experienced that ever. And my girlfriend was like, yeah, that's kind of like the par for me, but yeah, like for me, I've never experienced anything like that. The only thing that I did different yesterday well, the day before yesterday was I ate a ungodly amount of food, an unnecessary amount of food, a ridiculously unnecessary amount of food. I just completely wolfed down like what would effectively be like 3 plates in one, and I didn't feel full. I was like, okay, I'm good. I probably was just hungry, but when I woke up, I like the room was spinning. I mean, it felt like a bad hangover, but like different, you know? And I couldn't eat yesterday the whole day. I ate like maybe one bowl of Cheerios and
Food coma.
yeah, but it's so weird. I mean, I've never experienced that, you know? And then I started looking up like the potential for it being like maybe food poisoning, but Christine didn't get sick.
No, food
So,
poisoning's different.
because like food poisoning is like nausea, fatigue, dizziness, headaches, weakness, and your stomach feeling incredibly upset, up and to including vomiting. You know, you need to go to the bathroom constantly, things like that. So, but those were the only two things that weren't really prominent. So I'm like, I don't know what it is. I still don't know. My sister's like, look, you need to keep checking that blood pressure, because those numbers, they're not normal. Because
Yep.
yeah, like I was literally posting 80 over 50 something. That's not normal. Like,
What'd you do?
I don't know, that's the thing. Even people with naturally low blood pressure, they at least post like 90s. They at least post like 90s. 90 over whatever, you know? But yeah, and also the pulse was worrying my sister a lot too, because like my pulse like dipped to the 50s. She's like, you must be doing something wrong. Can you please like do it again and make sure you're doing the the machine right, because something's not right here. And the fact that it hasn't changed at all is weird, because like if it's like a small issue where, you know, some people may have I forget what the term is, but they'll get up suddenly and like their blood pressure will just completely dip, but it will level itself after a bit. But mine wasn't doing that at all. She kept asking me for like numbers every hour, because, you know, nurses do rounds roughly about, depending on the patient, roughly about ever so often, right? Like about an hour, or like they'll do it 2 or 3 times a day, depending. But she kept asking me for like numbers, because she was like, dude, I don't know what you did, but I still don't know. And I'm like concerned to the point where I'm like actually considering making an appointment with a doctor. Because like, what the fuck, dude? That's never happened to me.
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah. Nausea's a normal part.
See if it persists at all.
Yeah. Nausea's a normal part of my life, but the only time I felt disoriented is when I was really sick from food poisoning. Yeah. Like, I'm telling you, I felt completely, like, when I woke up, the entire room was spinning. Sometimes I have dizzy spells where I have to lay down and my feet up. I'd usually pass in 10 minutes. I should test my blood pressure. Yeah, see if it's, like, something to do with that, because if you get up and you experience that for a few moments, that could just be, like, normal. That could just be normal. I forget the medical term for it, because, like, one of my friends told me what it was. But yeah, you see, that's the thing. It should pass in a moment. Mine didn't. Mine persisted the whole day yesterday. So at some point today, I'm gonna do another test, and hopefully that levels out. Because the good news is, though, at the last right before I went to sleep, I was posting triple digit numbers. So we were getting there, you know.
Good.
So yeah, today I feel just today I just feel exhausted. So I do apologize if we're not able to stream the entire time. But we'll try to take it slow, and hopefully we're good. Yeah, your body's angry. Hope it fixes itself. Thank you. I know that you're also feeling a little bit under the weather, Bree.
Yeah. Um, I'll survive.
I'll
Probably.
survive. Yeah,
Probably.
probably. Bailey. Well, we
Yeah.
did promise Saturday Caturday, so we do have a resident cat. Usually it's Pip, but today it's Bailey. Bailey's deciding to hang out with
More
us
so
today.
been Bailey lately than a little bit.
Damn body
Bailey's been
malfunctions, true.
Bailey's been here like every Saturday for quite a while.
Yeah. Bailey's gonna be the poster child for Saturday Caturday.
Pip is gonna lose his spot.
Oh no. You know what's interesting? I'm hoping that I can get Bakita to hang on that cat condo that I posted over there. And I'm hoping that that she chills there cuz more often like she has been, so that I can like kind of hang out with her too. And she's also taken a liking to my ottoman that's on the other side of this room. Which I'm hoping that I can set up the little kitty cam there, because I've got the tripod ready, but it's like she hangs out for like a few minutes and then she wants to leave. Can I post a link? Yeah, just send it to us in DMs, please. What was I saying? Yeah, she likes to hang out here for a few minutes and then she like wants to get out. But that's enough about me and my ramblings. We do have a couple of things to discuss. I think that the biggest news, well, not the biggest, but one of the more prominent things that happened yesterday. I have the same cat bed for my boyfriend's Caturday on his desk. Aww. It's very effective, apparently.
He is so happy.
Yesterday, in a heartbreaking, crushing news, unfortunately, the Amazon workers in Bessemer, Alabama, voted to not form a union. Unfortunately, they lost the vote. They lost the vote, and I mean, it looks like Amazon's astroturfing anti-union anti-union propaganda worked, and yeah, they decided to not vote. Oh, I'm sorry, hold on, folks. And they voted not to form a union. I believe they're gonna contest that. Let me bring that up, Renardus. I'll be there in a second, don't worry. I believe that they're going to contest it, but to me it sounds like that's game, set, match to me. It sounds like the union vote lost and they're gonna have to either try again or it's done, which is really heartbreaking, because I believe that if the Amazon workers at the Alabama warehouse would have voted to unionize, I think that would have set off a chain reaction for more union votes to happen. Nonetheless, the fact that it even was a thing is still good. And I'm hoping that regardless, it still inspires more people to form unions, especially in like Amazon, Walmart, and all these large corporations. But you know, it was definitely not the news that we wanted to hear in terms of that election. I think it still started a movement. I hope so, Renardus. Let me bring that up that you were the link. Hold on, folks. Oops, not the cat jam. Why aren't...
Why are you like this?
There we go. Okay. We got there. Okay. Yeah, because I have the settings different. Sorry guys, I'm not with it today. Is the paramedic speaking? Okay, let's see. And I just lost it. Okay, here we are.
What are you, a specialist, Corporal? What are you?
I'm a lieutenant.
Lieutenant, get out of the car. Take your seatbelt off and get out of the car. You made this way more difficult than it had to be if you just complied. Get out of the car.
I'm reaching for my seatbelt.
Fine. Take your seatbelt off and get out of the car.
This is a...
Straight onto the ground.
Dude, this is a army lieutenant, dude. Like, why are you like this?
Commanding officer available.
Down. Let's go. Let's go.
Available.
Get on the ground. Get on the ground.
Get
on the ground now. Get on the ground or you're getting sprayed again. Get on the ground.
Oh, they sprayed him.
Get on the ground. Get on the ground now.
Dude.
Talk to me about what's going on. Can you please talk to me about what's going on? You're not.
Oh, that's a little bit loud.
About what's going on. Why am I being treated like this? Why?
Because you're not cooperating. Get on the ground.
Why am I being treated like this? This is really messed up. This is really messed up. Sir, well, just work with me. This is fucked up. This is fucked up. This is fucked up. This is fucked up. This is fucked up.
Damn. Imagine like serving your country and this is how you're treated.
Disturbing.
Oh, there's another half? Okay. Yeah, I mean, we might want to, get the full context of it. Let me bring that up.
Done by now.
Your
Because it's a simple traffic.
are drawn.
It's a simple traffic violation.
Mr. Rosario, look, you want to stop in a well-lit area because you're nervous.
Yes.
The whole BLM movement, you're probably nervous and all that.
What?
They feel the same way.
What does that
They're
have to
nervous
do
for
with
their
anything?
jobs and their lives. I get where you're coming from.
Okay,
I get
listen.
where you're coming from.
Listen. I'm sorry, but if like things make you nervous like that, maybe you shouldn't be a cop. Like, what does that even mean? You're a police officer. What does being nervous means? That's literally your entire job. You know that, right? Can you imagine if like a soldier didn't want to go into battle because he felt quote unquote nervous? Like, wait. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Sergeant. I can't go into battle. I'm you know, the enemy makes me nervous or whatever excuse. Like what? Then
Let's let this pepper spray.
Done by now.
Because
it's a simple traffic.
drawn.
It's a simple traffic violation.
Mr. Rosario, look, you want to stop in a well-lit area because you're nervous.
Yes.
The whole BLM movement, you're probably nervous and all that.
yeah, he's probably a National Guardsman who's like been sent to like be prepared, in case like stuff gets out of hand. So he's probably already on edge, and like furthermore, that's not an excuse. Like, it's a regular traffic stop. Where, in what point, like unless there's some like serious like context that we're missing, in what exact like world does it make sense to like just mace or spray somebody like that for a traffic violation? Unless there's some wild context that we're missing, this isn't right.
That's insane.
Right, Renardus. Exactly. Like, dude, I'm sorry, but if you're nervous, you shouldn't be a police officer. There's no room for that. When police officers are nervous, that's when mistakes are made. Their job isn't to be nervous. Their job is to protect the public. No matter what. Supposedly. Supposedly. Their job is to protect the public no matter what. At the end, the cops said they would drop the charges if he just chilled and forgot about it. Wow. Oh, hey, yeah, cool, nice.
Oh, man.
Nice meme. You know what? You know what? Look, bro. If you just forget about this whole entire incident, we'll drop the charge. What? I don't believe this. That's wild. Thank God the lieutenant sued. Yeah, I would too. Like, I would make sure that I would get all of those officers' name and supervisor and just be like, all right, we'll see you in court. Because in any part of that video, I didn't see that the guy was doing anything to warrant any sort of treatment in that way. Like I said, unless we're missing some wild context that we don't have, clearly the officer was for a traffic violation was way over the top. And then has the audacity to say, oh, you know, if you just chill and forget about it, you know, we'll drop the charges. We'll drop the traffic violations. What? No, dude. That's not how this works. That always makes me feel like really bad, and like seeing and like, dude, wasn't even a violation. The cop didn't see the registration paper through the tinted window, allegedly. Oh, I see. Either way, that's not like, that's no reason to treat a person like that. But you could actually see it in his body cam. Wow, so it wasn't even a real violation anyways. I don't know if tinted windows should be like a violation. Like, should tinted windows be illegal?
They are in some places.
Yeah, but like, should they be?
I don't see why they should be.
Because like, I don't see the safety concern. Like, I don't see the safety concern that would require somebody to be like, you know what? These tinted windows, man, they're just so dangerous. We can't have them on cars. But police officers use them.
Yeah.
Makes no dang sense. Yeah, and the language they use, like, get out or you're gonna ride the lightning. What? Dude, if a cop spoke to me like that, if a cop spoke to me,
I'm going home.
I would be like, alright, is your body cam on? Because you're about to, like, is your body cam on? Okay, I'm gonna do, like, everything that you, I hope that everything's being recorded, because, oh boy, you just made me very rich. Like, you just made me very rich. In the Chauvin trial, the chief said that cops are to be decent and polite. Well, yeah, they are to be. They are to be. They ought to be. But never in my experience. Well, I've had limited experience, to be quite honest, with police. To be anecdote Andy, to be quite honest, I've had very little experience. I've never... Well, I've had like one negative interaction, and I'm, you know, I've been here for about 3 decades, to give you an idea, and I've had like about one negative intervention, one negative interaction, and I've had one weird interaction where they stopped us because, quote unquote, these vehicles are very are stolen often, so we just thought that this car was stolen was the excuse as to why we were stopped, which I believe we were profiled, but okay. My mom is black. One time we had we got held at gunpoint during a traffic stop. Jesus Christ. Why would you be held at gunpoint? Like, if I'm sorry, if you're like if you're the gears in your mind start like turning, and like the thing that you need to do during a traffic stop without any other necessary, like without any other evidence other than, oh, you know, dude ran a stop sign, dude changed lanes incorrectly, whatever. Let me stop them because they did a traffic violation. What kind of like gears need to be turning in your mind that you need to be like, yeah, I need to have my weapon drawn? Like, unless you have some really, really good reason, why? I was like,
There's something wrong with you.
yeah, I was like 9. I hope the cop felt like a real man. Yeah, I bet he did. Unbelievable. I'm pretty sure, like, you know, they stopped us because there was a lot of kids in the car, you know, in a Honda in Miami. Pretty sure they just like, Honda in Miami, there's a lot of heads in the car. Whoop whoop. Got stopped. But yeah,
Like,
those
do y'all kids know who this woman is?
yeah, like okie dokie.
Oh, I'm sorry, Bailey.
And by kids we mean like 19, 20, 21. Like that was the age group that the 5 of us were in.
Eesh.
And funny enough about that story, one of my my best friends, who's like a brother, is basically like a brother to me, was already drinking. He was of age, of course, but the officer was like, "Hey, you drinking?" And I was like, "Well, I'm definitely not." And of course, he pops up from behind in the back seat saying, "Nope, it's all me, sir." And sure enough, he was like holding a canteen, not a canteen. What is the little things that you hold alcohol with? It's not a canteen. Flask. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Renardus. Flask. He was holding up a flask.
Oh, you guys didn't let him suffer long enough. Come on.
He like immediately holds up a flask and says, "Nope, that's me, officer." And he just looks at him like, okay, it's obvious it's him, not the driver. Carry on, folks. He I mean, within a second, as like, without missing a beat, you know, he pops up and says, "Oh, it's me, officer. I'm the one drinking."
Oh no.
You can't have an open container, but you can have a flask. Like what? I don't know. Maybe they really weren't looking for like drunk drivers or anything like that, but it was obvious that it was his, and it was obvious that he was the one drinking it. So maybe technically they just let him go. Because they just kind of gave him a look and then moved on, and like, okay, it's obvious that, you know, it's just him and the driver isn't doing anything, and they're right in front of a liquor store. I mean, these kids are just grabbing like stuff to. These teenagers are just doing what, well, not teenagers, but you know, these college kids are just doing what college kids do, right? I legit smuggle wine and coffee cups on my road trips. Yeah, like, I don't know the rule to that. I thought that technically you couldn't have an open container, no matter what it was. So maybe the cops just like didn't care about that, because like they looked at him and they're like, okay. And we all know exactly who we're talking about. But yeah, cops make their own rules. We know this. I mean, yeah, he basically chose not to do anything about that. There's 2 cops. Sorry, they chose not to do anything about that, because as far as I'm concerned, aware, Renardus, I think you're right. I think you can't have a open container in no way, shape, or form. Is that right? I don't know. You know what? Google can tell us. Open
Oh my god.
container law. Yeah, it also... Yeah, it also applies to the passengers in the back seat. Like, it even specifically it says that you can't do it, even if you're in the back seat. So they just literally let that slide. It says, Florida statute, blah, 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 blah. The statute also applies to passengers. Therefore, being in the passenger seat or in the back seat of a vehicle does not give an individual permission to drink alcohol. So, yeah.
Darn.
So, yeah.
So much for Florida being the party state.
I mean, it is clearly if the cops, like, literally did absolutely nothing about it. Because he gave himself up. I mean, that dude did not miss a beat. And he was like, oh, no, officer, it's me. Raises flask. I swear it's because of flask. Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Oh, now I know why my headphones were so loud.
Oh, why?
Discord was set at 200% output.
Oh, yeah. When in doubt, blame Discord. When in doubt, blame
Like,
Discord.
How did this happen?
Yeah, so technically the passenger could be guilty of a non-moving violation, but I'm thinking of like an open container shall be considered to be in the possession of an operator of a vehicle if the container is not in the passenger's possession and is not locked. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I see. You know what? It's because the car wasn't moving. I think that's why they didn't hit us with it. I think that's why they didn't hit us with it. Because the car wasn't moving. It was parked in front of the liquor store. Oh, good news in Nevada. They're going to abolish the death penalty and they're going to provide free femcare in public schools. Nice. Hey, there's one step in the right direction. There you go. That's good news. I also heard that they're legalizing marijuana in West Virginia, which has now the 16th state to move towards legalization. I think that honestly, these type of movements eventually are going to lead to the federal government having to do something. Like, eventually the federal government will be like, listen, it's already like legalizing across like more than half of the states. We might as well like just let it go and just make it like legal or like at the bare minimum, just decriminalize it. Because I mean, like, we need to end this war on drugs. I think it's silly. I think it's a waste of resources. I think it hurts people more than helps.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it helps people. It hurts people more than it helps, and it's about that time. I think. Come on, guys. We're in 2021. We can move past that. You know. Isn't it supposed to be like 13 states? If 13 states have the law, then they can adopt it federally. Where did they? Because there was a time where I think that was like a thing back then, because there were so little states. Or unless it's like I'm thinking about proposing an amendment to the Constitution. I think 13 states have to at least propose it before it even gets on the floor or something like that. Or in order for you to have a convention of states, I think 13 have to open up the floor. have to open up the floor to discussion, I think. I'm not remembering. But yeah, also abolishing the death penalty is pretty good. Moving away from like punitive justice, and not only that, I'm not sure I'm comfortable with the state being with the state having the ultimate say on somebody's life, you know? Like, life in prison is one thing, but like having the state with the power to do the death penalty is also not okay.
Oh, sorry.
Abolish the ban penalty?
A commercial came on and I got really excited.
Nug Wrangler, how's it going, my friend? How's it going? I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here.
My favorite username.
Yes.
2 of my favorite things.
True, that's right. Can you raise your microphone just a little bit? Just a tad. No? Boo.
Of course.
There we go. Either that or just put it closer to you. Yeah. Abolish the ban penalty.
Or both.
True. There you go. How's it going, Nug Wrangler? Or should I say, Noog Wrangler? So we have a constant meme in the Majority Report chat where was it Majority Report or No Miki where that started where somebody said Noog and OOG and it kind of just stuck. The Republicans are boycotting it. Yeah, I bet. Yeah, it was Sam, right? Yeah. It was the Majority Report. Okay. That's funny. Memius, how's it going? Did you go on any Jeep adventures lately?
Not really. It's been just work and home.
Yeah.
Work on the garden. All the stuff going on here. Have to deal with, you know.
How's the garden going? You sent me pictures of like some of the berries. They look really good.
Yeah, and then we got a really deep frost and it killed them all.
Boo.
So we were gonna have hundreds of blueberries, and now all those are like dead.
Dang. Rip. That's not cool. Well, hopefully you can restart.
And one of my apple trees didn't survive winter.
No.
The big one. So that sucked, but I'm starting some seeds, and it's gonna take a long time, but eventually I'll get.
Yeah, eventually. That's the cool thing. Like,
I forgot what all I had in there. I think I sent you a list. Let me look.
somehow the meme of mispronouncing goes to Pac-Man. He called me Noog Wrangler. That's funny. Was it high bush blueberries?
No, they're rabbit eye.
Rabbit eye. No, DMX did not die after taking the COVID vaccine. He unfortunately passed away as a result of a drug overdose. Okay, so if you're trying to make the implication that the COVID vaccine killed DMX, you would be incorrect. Unfortunately, he passed away as a direct result of a drug overdose, and unfortunately, it led to a heart attack. And unfortunately, that heart attack, okay. Well, how about you take a second, to figure that out, okay?
So, as far as the, garden, let's see. I took a picture of the list before I finished it, so I'm not sure I'll remember everything. But there were only certain live plants I was able to get so far, so a lot of other ones I'm trying to start them. We'll see what happens. But for the live plants, I have curly kale, romaine lettuce, early girl tomatoes, Cherokee purple tomatoes. I just yesterday planted or I bought yesterday 2 jalapeno plants that I planted this morning.
Nice.
And I also got 2 raspberry bushes. One is a Killarney raspberry and the other one is a Canby raspberry.
Nice.
So we'll see if I can get those starts to take off. Last year when I tried it, I didn't have any luck. But I kind of feel like I just didn't have good luck on the stuff that I got from the farm store. Like maybe something was wrong with it, because you saw the rest of my garden. It's
Yeah.
not like I didn't do a good job researching what all the plants needed and stuff.
Right.
And all the plants that I've tried to grow here are plants that can grow here and grow very well here.
Sometimes
so it's just
like
weird, you
So-
know.
yeah, sometimes like even when you try to like research it, like people often have like different ways of doing different things and sometimes it doesn't work. Yeah, fake news. Does she follow Clydeston, a great farming stream? Cool. So-
No, I'll check it out.
Are berries hard to grow?
No, I don't think so. I mean, my blueberries were really easy. And then I had also, I've never grown asparagus before, so we got a bag of that. And it's like the root system things, and you plant them upside down with the top facing up so that they can grow up out of the dirt. And that was pretty cool, so I'll be interested. It looked like they were trying to poke through the ground already. Be curious to see how they do after the storm
Nice.
that's coming over the next few days.
Yellow King, how's it going? Yeah,
We also got this year something different. Last year we did carrots from seeds. This year, we accidentally bought, instead of just regular seeds, we ended up with like a seed rope where it was like
a bunch of them.
the seeds were sewn into this little biodegradable strip that you cut to the size of the bed you want.
Nice.
And so we tried that, and we'll see what happens with that. But I also have 2 trays full of starts that I'm trying to get going for green bell peppers, cucumbers, eggplant, spinach, and corn.
We need pictures for stream. Oh yeah, we should. In fact, why don't you join the Discord? We can put some of those pictures as we go.
Gosh darn it, Discord.
Too bad we can't barter goods across the border. I'll trade you some Canadian bud for some Florida peppers. I'm Canadian bud. Nice.
We're down.
What was I gonna say? Oh, here's an interesting thing. Speaking of gardening, so you know how my parents are like very green thumb, and like my parents are just really good at this stuff, way better than I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have been getting so good with compost, and they accidentally grew a pumpkin patch. So we have huge pumpkins coming out, and it's like really cool because like she buried compost, and one of those composts had pumpkin seeds in it. So now we have like a pumpkin patch just randomly growing in our yard
I love it.
with huge pumpkins coming out. It's amazing. We have the mulberry tree that is the parent of the clone that we have.
Yeah, you still gotta bring me a piece of that.
Yes, they completely like shaved like the entire tree, and now like they have mulberries this big. It's wild. A real mulberry tree. Yes, we have its clone, which we're hoping to.
I want a piece of it.
Yes. If you give her a plant, it will bloom or have babies. It's insane. She's not even good at growing stuff. It just give her the already grown plants, and soon you'll have 2. Nice. Yeah, green thumb right there. A green thumb. And we got some strawberries going, so hopefully we'll get more strawberries. We've already had a couple. Pretty cool.
Nice. I'm going to Home Depot to get some today.
Yeah, and it's really cool because they propagate more. So one strawberry will turn into a bunch. Who has walnut trees? Yes, that would be awesome. Walnuts are cool, very hardy, and easy to grow here. If a walnut tree gets
Super
going,
sustainable too.
yeah, if a walnut tree gets going here, It's gonna last like forever. Growing your food is so much fun. Yeah, and it's super rewarding too. Like having the homegrown peppers. Oof. Homegrown peppers are amazing. And I started
They
a
are.
I started a bed. BRB doing dungeons and ESO. All right. Um. We had a garden bed full of shallots, and they're huge now. So I'm hoping we can get some shallots out of that. We did like a small community like garden in the community like section, and I'm hoping that if this trial run does good, then we'll be able to grow more stuff and even like give out some of the stuff. So that'd be cool. Kind of encourage people to join us and do that, you know? One of the neighbors came out and was really cool with it. I'm growing his cat grass and catnip indoors. Nice. I need some cat grass.
I'm growing cat grass and catnip outside. And I'm also probably, when I get the strawberries, gonna get another one of those rail planters I was showing you where I put my lavender and microgreens.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the microgreens.
And then I can start growing some more stuff. Like I was thinking starting with peppermint, spearmint, lemongrass,
Nice.
that kind of stuff. That's why I can make all my own essential oils.
Yeah, we've got lavender on the floor.
Just
because
be careful not to let the cat get it.
Yeah. No, it's outside. We're not letting the cat get to it. We're growing like a bunch of lavender, and one of them isn't doing so hot, but hopefully it recovers. Yeah, super excited.
Yeah, the ones I bought weren't in that great shape. Like, none of the plants that they had were in great shape this year. I was really surprised.
Yeah, you're talking about Home Depot?
No, Tractor Supply.
Tractor Supply? Okay, I was about to say.
Which they get weekly shipments directly from the farm. So it's very strange.
I don't know.
But, whatever.
Like, I thought you were saying it's Home Depot, because we've been having issues with Home Depot plants.
Well, they were like that last year, which is why we started using Tractor Supply.
Gotcha. My lavender never ever grows. We've tried already twice. This is the third experiment where we actually put it in the ground. So we'll see how that goes, because apparently lavender is like very it's like rosemary. So these type of plants like really sandy, crappy soil. And our rosemary, we put that in you know how good South Florida soil is. It's sandy.
What soil?
What soil, correct. And our rosemary bush is huge. Our rosemary bush is out of control. Because it loves that sandy kind of like crappy soil. Yeah, that's probably my issue. Yeah, because you could tell the difference between my parents' rosemary, who they left it in the pot. It's still in the pot, and their rosemary is like skinny. It's not really growing, but ours just went out of control.
It's probably root bound.
Yeah, maybe, but it's unbelievable. We have rosemary for like the entire complex. Like, there's no shortage of that.
That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, so some of the stuff that's been happening in the news, again, I think that one of the more frustrating stuff is the union vote with Amazon, which is pretty disheartening. I mean, it was so like how amazing it would have been. How amazing would it have been if they would have been able to unionize? I think that the inspiration would have been great, and I'm hoping that maybe it does keep catching on to different places. But we'll see. Let's see here if there's any other headlines that I want to take
I
a
really
look.
have no idea why people, sorry guys, are against unions.
Right. It's because like Amazon.
Like, gee, let me be against my own self-interest.
Right. Exactly. Like the thing is, like Amazon spent a lot of time, resources, and energy to kind of like plaster everywhere anti-union stuff. Like, oh, if you join the union, they're gonna take dues out of your paycheck. So why bother? And then they like tried to say, oh, you know, Amazon gives you benefits even without the union. So what's the point of a union? They took out ads on Twitch, no less, to post like anti-union sentiment in the warehouse itself. They posted do it without the dues and like a whole bunch of anti-union stuff inside the warehouse. They did really shifty stuff regarding the city traffic lights so that employees didn't have time. Or things like that. I mean, all of this, I think, combined was sufficient to kind of drive people in the other direction. It's easier not to be involved than to stay out of it is to vote no. At least that's what a lot of workers thought, probably.
If you choose not to decide, you're still making a choice.
Correct.
And, you know, that's... I don't know.
Right. True. True. Because, like, it happens in regular elections. You not taking a choice, like, is a choice. And does have repercussions and consequences, even if you didn't choose. One guy said he didn't want to lose the benefits he got already. Yeah, that's the thing. That's exactly what Amazon was astroturfing the airwaves with. Yeah. Hey, Redacted 420, how's it going? That's what they were plastering the entire time. They were saying, you know, you're gonna, you know, what we give you benefits. Why would you need a union? We give you this. Why would you need a union? Like, I don't know. I feel like the idea that they were allowed to do so much anti-union propaganda was disturbing, because it kind of shows like just how much power that they have, or how much resources they're willing to devote to make sure that the warehouse didn't unionize, which only goes to show the point that unionization in this country is important. The whole thing with the stoplights, right? The traffic lights that they were that they lobbied the local city authorities to mess with is also an indication of why, like, of how intertwined and how bad it is to have corporate interests intertwined with government like that. I mean, it's just not good. It's just not good, and it's not fair, because there's no way all those Amazon, you know, the union would have the same amount of the same amount of resources as someone like Amazon, right? It's not even close. It's not even close. Ooh.
I'll be damned.
This is headlines that I'm just watching here. House Ethic Committee opens investigation into Matt Gaetz. So I think this guy is gonna go. I'm hoping this guy goes down. Oops. Oh well. The TLDR of this story is that, in case you guys were not aware, Representative Matt Gaetz, who's of course from Florida. Man, we can't escape this. From Florida was allegedly accused of sex trafficking a minor because he paid money for her to fly over state lines or something like that for those type of purposes.
Gross.
Yeah, and he is under federal investigation, and now apparently the House Ethics Committee is opening an investigation into him because cringe, dude. That's gross. That's gross.
Super gross.
Yeah. Federal investigators are looking into a Bahamas trip that he allegedly took in 2018 or early 2019 as part of their inquiry. He also faces allegations that he had inappropriate sexual relationship with a 17-year-old girl and paid for her to travel with him, which he has denied. So yeah, pretty scummy stuff. And I hope that this guy gets what he deserves if he once the investigations show and prove true. Jesus. His friend was also a Florida government official. Yeah, I heard that he might turn on Matt Gaetz, which is if that's the case, then we might actually have like a pretty open and shut case. Like, I think that's pretty open and shut. If you have like another person who was involved and decides to flip on you, hey Dustin, how's it going? No problem. I'm glad just you're here. Base Venmo with the option.
You mean there's a witness?
Yeah, I mean, hey. Yeah, base Venmo with the option to have your transactions public. Huh. Interesting. Well, there you go. Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say that this could spell trouble for Matt Gaetz. I mean, it's interesting enough, he was the only Republican to vote against the anti-trafficking bill that was proposed on the House, which is really weird. Really weird.
The only downside to kissing on Bailey is his little hairs get stuck in my nose.
Oh no. Yeah, and it makes... Oh no, see, I can't do that. I can't do that at all. Like, I can hold a cat, but I cannot put my face like on her like that.
It's not the Rona, y'all. I just have little Bailey hairs in my nose.
Little Bailey hairs. Yeah, I can't do it, because if I do that, allergy attack for sure. If I do that,
yeah, same thing with Karina.
Like allergy attack for sure. Like what I have to do to make sure that
I'm a normal human. I'm not allergic to God's beautiful creatures.
What I have to do is I make sure that I wash my hands every time I touch her, and I keep my hands away from my face, which is probably what you should do anyways, like as a habit, especially nowadays. But I've learned to do that, and I've also been very good with like making sure that when I do carry her, I like get rid of all the cat hair, and so far so good. When we first got her, I did have a couple of like allergy attacks, but afterwards, after I started like being more conscious of like what I do with my like making sure that I don't get the dander on me, I'm pretty sure that that's what it is, the dander. It's been pretty good. It's been pretty good.
Well, maybe before we sign off of the stream, I can go mobile and show everybody my little chicken hospital.
Oh yeah.
Downstairs, and if it's not raining too bad, I'll pip up to the garden real quick.
Nice. Drew Dustin, now Venmo needs a Yelp feedback so that the women can upvote his payments. Yeah, make that public. Make that plastered. Yeah, apparently you can. Hey Marzi, how's it going? Good afternoon to you. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so I would be very interested to see how the garden is doing and how the little chickies are doing.
It's nothing fancy right now.
Nothing fancy,
Promise.
but
Like
either-
it looks like a bunch of nothing right now.
that's okay. The chickens are cute.
Well, I can show the chicken that's in quarantine, but I'm not really gonna go in the coop and open that up.
Maybe it's also
It's a muddy mess down there right now. So
it also might not, like, the signal might not reach. Maybe, who knows?
I think it reaches okay. Oh, sorry.
Don't worry, I completely feel you.
Hopefully the audio's a little better today. No echo. And...
Yeah, no, well, the thing I can definitely confirm, because I've been paying attention as much as possible, is that we definitely don't have an echo, and hopefully
I'm pretty sure it was my headphones.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it was too. But yeah, and I also switched around the microphone. And by the way, Nug Wrangler, this you can thank Matt Bender for this. So what I did was I got a foam windscreen from the SM7B and put it on this one so that I could actually have it closer, reducing the like the plosives, so you don't hear the sounds. Yeah, I had to turn my head away because that would have been a huge pop. To turn those plosives down way better so that I can have it more, have it closer to my face. Bass Bender, yes, I saw that he did that, and I noticed how it's the same gray microphone, and I saw what he did with it. All he did was replace the little foam with the bigger foam. Well, not bigger, but like taller foam. And man, that makes a world of difference, which was actually what I was going to tell you right before we started the show.
Interesting.
Yeah, what I was going to tell you before the show was like, oh, I did this like small mod to the microphone that makes it completely, I think, better. Because like one of the one con that I have with it is that it's very sensitive, so like the plosives will be like overbearing. But with this windscreen, it's longer so that the air is stuck, you know, so you don't get those plosives. So what I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna get another one wait, this way. Yeah, I'm probably gonna get another one. I mean, they're cheap, they're a couple bucks, you know, it's foam, but it makes a difference.
Yeah,
it makes a difference. I mean, you've got better
on this one too.
Exactly. You've got like better, like your mic is angled, so we don't hear like plosives on your end that much, but this allows me to be right there, you know. So yeah, you can thank Matt Bender for that idea. I may or may not have stolen from him. I saw what he did. I see. Like I have like this thing where I pay attention to people's audio. To people's audio and microphone and like stuff, and I try to make it like I'm trying to make this experience as best as possible. And I think what he did was very I think that like what he was doing was very good. Most of the things are doing something that is done before. No shame in that game. Oh yeah, clearly. True. Huh. It's taking what you see and like improving it or making it your own. That's very true. Yeah. Just like my background. Because we all know who has the best background. Um,
Huh.
um,
Yeah.
uh,
We all know who has the best background.
true. Most unique background definitely goes to my co-host. There's so much like stuff going on. You can like literally sit there and point out all the little Easter eggs. Little Rush pop figures. There is a penguin there. There is there's a cool soundboard, and if you really pay attention, in the back there's like a whole bunch of boxes for cool stuff, you know. And
Yeah, all the stuff. Well, not all the stuff, obviously, but some of the stuff that I've gotten for this room since I decided to get into the whole streaming thing.
yeah,
Like, I can stream from the Nintendo Switch and stuff too.
oh, that reminds me. I do need to get another capture thingy mabobber at some
Love
point
my
one day.
desk.
Yeah, I like the mouse pad that you have. The really big mouse pad. I need to figure out a way how to do that. Maybe after like, if quarantine ever ends, because I got my
It was just a $10 one from Best Buy. It was on sale for $10.
I
It's a
have
Corsair gaming mouse pad.
I have one that's like kind of like big like that. But because I have a my work setup, because like I'm gonna take a picture for this. But I have like my work computer on this side, and that's kind of like hogging up the entire section over here. So I don't really have like a good way of putting out mine. But yeah, you have like all the cool stuff, the little computer with the guy inside. You can kind of see who's poking out there. You can kind of see them.
People in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta fix the one Bailey knocked over, the little asshole. I hope I don't knock all my other stuff over.
Don't worry. One day, I'm gonna have I'm gonna build my own rig. That's gonna be permanent. I'm gonna have a permanent like setup so that I can, you know, properly do this. Nice. Nice.
No big deal.
Oh, that's so cool. I like it.
Yeah, Bailey knocked over the log lady.
The log lady.
But yep, this is my little setup. She's still in one of her earlier stages. As you can see, I have quite a few spots to add hard drives. I could put another graphics card in here if I want to.
Yeah. There's plenty of that's the thing about building your own like rig, is like you can just have a base, and then like if you need to future proof it, you can just change or add stuff to it as you need it. That's the thing. That's the thing. Eventually, I'm hoping that one day, when I actually have my own home, where like, okay, this is my house. This is where we're gonna be, you know?
Oh, this one's portable. It's got handles.
It's got handles. Hey, Ashanti, how's it going? Hola, compadres. What are we chatting about today? Well, we were discussing a few different things. We were discussing gardening. We were discussing the Amazon warehouse union vote, which unfortunately failed. We were also, Renardis also showed us a horrible encounter with a... oof. Was that Bailey? Unfortunately, the cat just knocked up the the microphone stand. Hey Lastu, how's it going? So yes, Renardo showed us a very heartbreaking video of a lieutenant, no less, being screwed up by the cops.
There she goes.
How's it going?
Yeah.
And she's spraying one of
Yeah,
them.
I did.
Yeah.
And the cat lost his shit.
Yeah, the
Like,
cat just freaked
launched
out.
his bed, launched my Nintendo Switch.
So yeah, when I get a house, I'm gonna make it a point to make sure that I will build a permanent rig for myself and like dedicated to streaming.
You just need to let me build you one of these.
Exactly.
And I built this one in such a way that I could literally unplug and go.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm missing from my setup is an extra monitor to take with me.
Mm-hmm.
And a wireless, maybe I would get like a wireless keyboard with a trackpad on it so I don't have to take my high-end mouse and keyboard with me.
Yeah.
But this thing's got handles on it. It's great.
No, it's
And
it's beautiful.
I went with an air-cooled setup so I didn't have to. Oh, excuse me. It's all the tea I'm drinking.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to worry about any spills or anything if I took it somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but like that's what I'm saying. Like I want mine like once I have the stuff and once I have like the permanent place where I'm going to be, I'm going to make sure I dedicate like that room. That room is going to be dedicated to that. In my head, and that will be its permanent location one day. I know one day.
So I saw somebody selling a 12 by 18 fully furnished building for $500, not far from here.
$500.
That would be a perfect stream room for the backyard.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. But this is our beast. This build is called the Black Lodge. Any of my David Lynch fans out there will get that. But it's an air-cooled build. I don't even know how many fans. 2, 3, 5, 7. About 7 fans or so on here. It's Asus ROG board.
Nice.
Running a Ryzen 3.4 gigahertz processor. It's a Ryzen 7. And I've got the double intercooler here on it with the Noctua fans, the silent ones. Let's see, what else do I have on here? 960 Evo Samsung hard drive mounted onto the motherboard, and that's my C drive. That's all I'll need for my like programs and stuff. My operating system. Got an audio card on here. Got the AMD Vega 64 graphics card.
Nice. I have
a 10 terabyte standard hard drive over here, which is like my second drive that I keep all my stuff on. But I can add a whole bunch more. Oh, and a Blu-ray drive on the front.
Nice. I've got a laptop.
Same.
Got a lappy top. I don't make enough money for me to get a better laptop than my Chromebook. Those guys are actually pretty good for those guys are actually pretty good for traveling. You can
run literally anything I want on this thing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even blink.
True.
It's pretty insane. I'm tired of my camera being annoying. We're gonna switch to this camera.
Here.
Oh, if I switch to the other camera, I could literally turn it at the computer, couldn't I?
There we go. By the way, we've got a news article that I think was pertinent to what we were talking about.
Oh, cool.
It looks like there's somebody's gonna plead guilty. I'm gonna go over this article because I think it's pertinent to what we were talking about. Hold on. Hey, Memmius. My laptop barely runs Twitch, currently in the market for a PC though. Yeah, I would recommend, like, if you have the ability to, just build it. Otherwise, like, some of these high-end laptops are pretty good, but,
I got a really good laptop for only like $600.
yeah, so, like,
I mean, I know that's not nothing. I say only. But
well,
you
in
know,
comparison,
you guys know what I mean. Talking about technology, these dang things are so expensive.
yeah, exactly,
So
like,
to find something that's really good for $600, you're doing pretty good.
right, this laptop was about that, that I'm running it on, and it seems like it can do most things. It just starts to struggle when I add, for example, when I add streaming, Discord, and then I try to, like, do, like, a game. It won't do it. It just won't do it. Yeah, exactly, Nug Wrangler, considering, like, an iPad is $400. Yeah, so, exactly.
I'm not sure where I ended up with this build. I think it was about like maybe 1800.
Yeah, but that's
Thereabouts.
like a one and done, you know? Like, there's really nothing
Yeah,
you would need
the
to
only
do
thing
it.
I'm gonna change going forward is I'll add more hard drives to it.
Right, or, like, eventually, if it needs to be future-proof.
Oh, and I was eventually gonna add like more RAM, but I have 64 gigabytes. I think I'm okay for now.
Just a bit. That's like 6,000 Canadian. Oof. Alright, folks. Yeah, one day I'll be able to build
Yeah,
that.
if anybody needs help building a computer, this is one of my most recent builds. And that's a few years old, so stuff's a little bit different now, but you know,
Yeah, I'm sure
it's
it'll
all
keep
the
up.
same stuff.
Matt Gaetz, associate, is expected to plead guilty in sex trafficking, and what that means for the congressman. Ooh. Hold on, get rid of these ads. The House Ethics Committee on Friday said it would investigate Representative Matt Gaetz capping a scandal-plagued week for the congressman. The day prior, an attorney representing an associate of Gaetz in a fraud and sex trafficking case hinted that the congressman could face serious legal trouble. Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, goodness. Shame on me for trying to type anything. I can't even spell. I've tried to spell this one word 4 times.
That's all good.
And I still can't type.
How much Bitcoin can you mine with that PC?
I was trying to respond to that.
Oh,
It just was not going well.
okay. That's okay. Alright. Well, you have the thing up, yeah?
Probably quite a bit. Yeah, but I can't see. Hold on. It's too small. I'm sure Matt Gaetz is not feeling very comfortable today, Fritz Scheller said outside a federal courthouse in Orlando, Florida, shortly after he and federal prosecutors disclosed that they had agreed to negotiate a plea deal. Gaetz, a Republican firebrand and staunch defender of Yep.
That's a word. Wait, that's a word.
I wonder what's in my tea here. Oh god. Former President Donald Trump has been the subject of controversy since the New York Times reported that the Justice Department is investigating whether he had a sexual relationship with a 17-year-old and paid for her to travel across state lines, a violation of federal sex trafficking laws.
Yikes. A potential plea deal with Scheller's client, former Florida tax collector Joel Greenberg, could open Gaetz to greater legal jeopardy. If Greenberg were to fully cooperate by telling prosecutors everything he knows about illegal activities the two men may have been involved in, legal experts say. Yikes.
The Justice Department's investigation on Gaetz is part of a broader probe on Greenberg, and investigators are examining whether the two men were involved in recruiting women online for sex, the Times reported.
A person familiar with the matter told USA Today that former Attorney General William Barr was briefed on the investigation into Gaetz last year. The source, who is not authorized to comment on a pending investigation, said federal authorities had opened a full investigation at the time. So yeah, I think we've like talked about this before on stream, but this was started by like the Trump Department of Justice. So clearly, clearly this was something that they felt they couldn't ignore necessarily.
Greenberg, who's accused of trafficking minors, is facing a lengthy prison sentence, and if he were to try to seek a more lenient punishment, he must cooperate fully.
You're either on the bus or off the bus. You can't cooperate a little bit, said the former federal prosecutor Patrick Cotter, said adding Scheller's comment to the reporters was telling. What you can say with
What you can...
Oh yeah, go for it.
Oh,
go for
sorry.
it.
We're having a great day today, y'all.
It's okay.
What you can say with confidence is that if Greenberg reaches an agreement to cooperate, it will almost certainly be very bad for Mr. Yates' legal position, Cotter said.
Gates, who has not been charged with a crime, has denied allegations. A Justice Department spokeswoman declined to comment. Scheller did not return a call seeking to comment.
A majority of federal criminal cases are resolved through plea deals, and defendants facing years-long punishments have a strong incentive to cooperate with prosecutors.
True. I mean, like, there is criticism, like, just in general of the criminal justice system, where they will force you to take a plea deal to lesser crimes or whatever, just to, secure a guilty, just to secure a guilty verdict. A lot of the times they may coerce people who aren't guilty into taking, like, plea deals that are of lesser crime. But yeah, this could be huge in terms of like what could happen to Matt Gaetz. I mean, these things aren't taken so lightly. I believe if you get indicted on this, like that's GG. Like,
Bailey.
That's GG. That you're looking at like potentially like life in prison. I think if you get convicted to the full extent, I think that's like, it's pretty serious. Don't quote me on that, but the point being, it's pretty serious if you get indicted and convicted. My girlfriend checked that her PC can mine 70 cents a day for 50-cent profit. Huh. Interesting.
Or did you just crash? Yep. It made a noise and then it crashed.
It made a noise and then it crashed. Okay. Well, that's new. Or does it always do that?
Yeah, just didn't notice.
Okay. Oh, by the way, remind me after to test Zoom. To test if Zoom is a viable alternative, considering that Discord isn't just cooperating.
Bitch.
Yeah, Discord is just not cooperating at all. Like, not even remotely close. It's just like a nightmare. It's just a nightmare. So far. I mean, like, it works in other circumstances. I don't know, like, why. It just has a problem with us, you know? It just has a problem with us. Yeah, so I think that, like, this guy is, if convicted, or if things start to look, like he actually did these things, in terms of, like, legally, obviously it seems like there's plenty of evidence to suggest that he was involved in some way, shape, or form, allegedly, but if he is convicted, he's looking at some very heavy stuff, very heavy penalties. Who's in parts? Discord is fine. Yeah, I mean, Discord it's fine. Like, in terms of normally, it has worked fine for the most part in, like, other circumstances, but for some reason, every time we try to do it here,
it just has certain glitches that it does every single time.
Every single time here. My experience with Discord, which
and
is...
it doesn't matter. We've tried different cameras, different audio interfaces.
Even from the phone.
It just... Even from the phone, it did it.
So, I mean, my experience with Discord has mostly been good, which is why I suggested it in the first place to, like, have this going, and the audio is generally better than Skype. I mean, way better than Skype. Skype sounds like we're, like, talking on, like, like an old phone, you know? At least this is like significantly better in terms of audio, and like, you know, you can switch your cameras around and all this other cool stuff. But I don't know, for us, it always, every single time, no matter how we try it or what we do or what input we do, it always does this. So at least for our purposes, I'm trying to see if we can find an alternative. Which Zoom seems to be somewhere in there, in my head. And there's another one that I found, which I saved the link somewhere, so that if Zoom doesn't work out, we can try the other one. But man, it's been every single Saturday, every time, no matter what we do. So yeah, unfortunately, that's just the way Zoom goes. But yeah, TLDR, Matt Gaetz is looking at some heavy time in prison if convicted. Not good. What a gross scumbag. Oh man. So Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson, not that this is like above his MO.
Come back up here.
But he on air pushed yet another version, or not, or like essentially what he was arguing is the Great Replacement theory. And he decided, and this is on air completely fine by Fox apparently. He said that, quote, the Democrats were importing a brand new electorate of third world immigrants to dilute the political power of Americans. First of all, no, the Democratic Party is not complicit in attempting to import immigrants to create a new electorate. There's no evidence that even if somehow we snapped our fingers and all these immigrants became citizens and were eligible to vote, it does not mean that they'll all of a sudden be democratic, right? In case anybody forgot, actually a lot of Central and South America is very conservative in terms of like how they are, like politics wise. They're conservative ish. Who's to say that won't benefit the Republican Party? Like, this is gross fear-mongering, and it is pushing a theory, Great Replacement theory, which is common in white nationalism and, you know, things like that, to dilute the political power of Americans. So, number one, how is that possible if there was a magical, you know, just a magical snap of the fingers, all of them became citizens? Would they not be all Americans at that point either way? So how does that dilute the power of political power of Americans? And second of all, our population has been increasing, you know, since the beginning of this country's founding. So what? The more people there are, the more diluted the political power gets. That's not how that works. You just get more voters if they become citizens, right? Like, the implication is here that they're trying to replace the political power of Americans, which translates to white Americans. That's what he means. The dog whistle is clear. here. But it's just not true. And he asserted that live to millions of people. He just asserted that, like, just thinking that's just like completely fine to say. You don't replace the electorate by adding more electorates. You're adding more electors. Again, assuming that somebody just like snaps their fingers and makes all these people like legal citizens, right? And second of all, there's no evidence to suggest that even if that they would just like be obedient voters to the Democratic Party, when in reality a lot of these Central and South American people are generally pretty more like religious, conservative, Catholic kind of people, more or less. So no, there's no replacement of anybody. There's just, if again, just playing along with the hypothetical, if
Whoa, Ben is rating with the party of 45.
Hey, how's it going?
Wow.
Welcome,
guys.
Hey, Octosquiddies, thank you for the follow. Oh, a guest? A guest? Oh no, this is no guest. This is
the OG.
The OG, the real difficult truth, the co-host, the one and only. So yeah, we're just going around talking about some stuff here. Well, hello there. Welcome, everybody. My bad, didn't know.
Glad to have you guys.
J Miles, thank you for the follow. Thank you, Ben. How's it going? Hope your stream was alright. Let me make sure. Rory Cat's rising. Meow, meow. Oh yeah, we do have a resident cat for today.
Yeah, he's on the floor.
We do have a resident cat. Hey.
That's a chicken, Carlos.
I just found a debate between somebody and a tanky. I tried to find the definition, but I was wondering if you could explain what that is in simple terms. A tanky is like, you're doing Caturday, I'm in the right place. True. A tanky, generally speaking, there you go, resident cat, Bailey. A tanky, generally speaking, from what I understand, is like someone who is very stan-ish of like the USSR, China, on that end. A tanky is me. There you go, Grom. Explain. So that's generally how it goes. The term tanky is losing a lot of meaning due to overuse. Maybe. A chonky boy. Yeah. But yeah, probably a tanky could probably yeah, it's someone who likes COD. Exactly. So probably someone like Grom could better explain it. But yeah, so welcome guys, first of all. We are A Difficult Truth. We do news and politics, and on Saturdays we have a more chill session, Saturday Caturday, usually with games, but usually with some politics and some games. We were going over the heartbreaking decision of Amazon workers not voting to unionize. We were going over Matt Gaetz and his alleged sex trafficking allegations, and now we are going over the very cool, very totally normal Tucker Carlson, essentially espousing the Great Replacement again on air, to millions of people. So yeah, I mean, like, just taking quotes right off his what he said is like, he's literally saying that there is a grand conspiracy by the Democratic Party to replace the electorate with new people, which, how does that even make sense? Okay, on the logic, that means you have to take people out to replace them. You're not replacing people, you're adding to them. Second of all, again, this is all assuming that this is true. Second of all, how are you exactly going to confirm that these replacements are going to be obedient voters from the third world, right? You can't guarantee that. You don't know that. You don't know that at all. For all we know, this could actually help the Republican Party. Hey, thanks for the follow, Neko Girl. Thank you for the follow. Hold on.
Yes, I appreciate you.
Yeah. Der Frederick, thank you for the follow. Cicero Fields, thank you for the follow. So yeah, the fact that he's like pushing this and it's completely fine on Fox News, completely fine on Fox News, is concerning, as someone pointed out in chat. They become hysterical because that's what's happening, actually. Let's just say it. That's true. He's asserting this. He's asserting that this is true. He's asserting the fact that there's a grand conspiracy to replace an entire electorate and dilute the political power of the American people. Like, okay, so yeah, I'm appalled. The fact that like this is I mean, this is where we're at in terms of like Fox News. Yeah, exactly, Sparrowhawk. It helped them with Christian immigrants in Florida, didn't it? Yeah, exactly. Like, you don't guarantee that just because you have immigration doesn't like doesn't mean that you're gonna like all of a sudden be replaced. Dems think that BS Susan will vote for them because they call Republicans racist. That's why they keep pushing the identity politics. Yeah, I mean, like, the thing is, like, yeah, identity politics is like is annoying, but like the point being, and there's like a lot of idpol going around too. Sure, fine, fair. But like the point is, like, the assertion that there is a grand conspiracy to replace a certain electorate is the problem that I have, right? Because it's just like not true. And Republicans can get their votes because a lot of Latinos are. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. I mean, there you go. There's exactly. Yes. There's my point. Right there. That's true. That's true. So that was my point. Like, there's no evidence that there's a Democratic conspiracy to replace the electorate that will be obedient to them, which is exactly what he said. Because, as I was saying, a lot of these like Latinos who are coming from Central and South America are like conservative. So like I don't. This is like that. This is exactly why I think that, you know, he doesn't understand or is pushing something else. Trump getting away with the insurrection, all the courts are stacked red. Well, not all the courts, but definitely, 25% of them were stacked by Mitch McConnell. But yeah. Bailey. Tucker doesn't realize that Latinos are very similar to Americans in their values, honestly. Yeah, it just seems like I said, a lot of these arguments, when it comes to immigration, when you start picking at them, it just comes down to, I don't like these people. Because, like, that's what it is. Because, like Econonym said, that a lot of these immigrants do have, like, there's no real difference in terms of like values, or there's no difference in terms of like culture. So the culture argument goes away. There's no like real economic argument, because immigration actually does improve a lot of it is a big part of our economy, or at least there's a huge chunk to the tune of billions of dollars. So it's not economic. I don't necessarily buy they're stealing my jobs argument, I'm not necessarily buying the fact that
Right, because all these people work in the tomato fields and stuff.
yeah, I'm not necessarily buying that. I'm not necessarily buying the fact that like they are coming here to commit crime or anything like that. So like, because the statistics don't bear out, right, in terms of like crime. So that's not the issue. The issue isn't economical because that doesn't make sense. The issue isn't. It can't even be cultural. It can't even be cultural because, as Economist just pointed out, like,
Haley, come here.
like it can't even be culture because, as Economist just pointed out, like they're very similar in terms of like values. So what is it? It's just I don't like these people. And we have like Tucker literally spewing this out to millions of Americans. And it's like, it's not good. It's not good. It's a concerning direction. And it's just not true. Furthermore, there's no grand scheme to replace the electorate, okay? It's just not true. Nor do you think that there are going to be all of a sudden new obedient millions of voters if you just Thanos snap and all these people are like legal citizens, right?
There you go, baby.
It's just like constant talking points that like get thrown out, generally speaking, by generally.
I get the Bailey nose hairs.
Aw. Bailey. Yeah, so generally speaking, like these type of talking points are very common in far right circles, and they're just completely being spewed out to cause like to cause this negative reaction towards immigration, you know. People generally don't want to leave their own countries. It's a very hard thing to do. Yep. I can think of a substantial difference in Mexican culture, nothing fundamental anyways. Exactly, Sparrowhawk. And yeah, Gononim just pointed that out too. It's like, you know, there's no good necessarily like argument in terms of like, oh, you know, this is why we shouldn't have immigration specifically with the southern border stuff, you know. It's like it all falls apart, and when you start taking it apart, it's just like I don't like these people. That's it.
Disgusting.
Yeah. And like that's and there's like differences. Yeah, like food or cascarones. True. Yeah, I mean, culturally speaking, like, you know, it's not like, because I was actually debating this in Universal Discourse's channel, and the guy who one of the guys in the panel was saying like, oh, well, I'm not even going to argue the economical stuff because I can't win. I'm not even going to fight people on that because like clearly there's an economical advantage to having immigration. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set this out to be a cultural argument as to why we shouldn't, like, or something like that, or, you know, more or less that was his point. And it's like, well, if we prove to you, which we did, that a lot of our like core general values are very similar, at least compatible, then where's your argument? Like, kind of all falls apart, right? And like the whole implication that like what really got me mad was not mad. I shouldn't say mad. What kind of made me bristle a little bit was the fact that he said, well, look at Mexico's murder rates. What? Like, what do you mean? First of all, most of the people coming aren't from Mexico. Okay? Second of all,
Haley.
what does that have to do with anything? Is the implication that all of them are, like, criminals and murderers? Like, okay, dude, that's kind of...
Yeah, didn't you hear Trump? They're all murderers
that's kind
and
of,
rapists.
yeah, like, that's kind of cringe, my dude. You know, which brings ties it all back together to Tucker. Immigrants make this country dirty, Carlson. You know, like, and then he gets on TV and says that the
This country, the same one that was built by immigrants.
Right, and like not only that, like then he goes on and says that like immigrants are a problem because they're coming here to replace, this is his words, to replace American power, or like dilute the Native American the people here, citizens' power, which is like weird. Yeah, people who are awful criminals. Yeah, exactly. People who are awful criminals often want to leave the place where there's a lot of crime, a place where it would be easier to. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It's all about fear mongering. Yes, in this type of scenario, it is fear mongering. It is fear mongering, and like, it's based on a lie. Okay, it's all based on a lie. That's what irks me. But yeah, there's some good points being thrown around. Alio with the 12 biddies coming in hot.
Thank you, Alio.
So yeah.
Hey.
Incredible. Oh, I just saw a headline, which actually just reminded me. You know, there seems to be, and I think that it would behoove the Biden administration. Mexico has high murder rates. That's why they come to America, to be saved. Right? They come here to like escape that condition. Second of all, the majority of immigrants aren't from Mexico. They're from Central and South America. That didn't even make sense on the front. So yeah, it's just kind of weird to point that out.
Bailey, don't you push Steve Irwin off the desk again. Oh shit.
Yes, but that I just saw a headline that kind of reminded me of something like that I wanted to talk about. The Biden administration issued their first attempt or speech or whatever the English word is, like attempt at gun control. And I think that the type of rhetoric around this, in my opinion, like it's really not good. That being said, I don't have a problem with
Discord.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with implementing certain things that make sense. I don't have a problem implementing certain things that make sense. But I also think that this can be spun around. I think that also this can be spun around as like, you know, people are coming for just to flat out take your guns, which is not the case. However, I do think that
over my dead body.
So I just think
Cold
that
dead body.
I think that they need to lay off like some of this rhetoric. I'm not against any type of common sense legislation. Like, for example, when Donald Trump banned bump stocks, like, okay, like Donald Trump banning bump stocks isn't like taking away guns, right? Isn't an infringement on anything. Saying that maybe guns that are 3D printed should go through background checks is not infringing on your rights, okay? Saying that, for example, putting regulations on the pistol braces. Okay,
I
maybe.
disagree.
You disagree? I say maybe.
Yeah.
I say maybe. But like, I think that the language needs to be laid off.
So,
Grounded by laying the American
You can
Constitution.
have any of these things if you pay the government first.
Yeah, but
So what's the point?
right. But like, I don't know. I don't think like people need like bump stocks. You're gonna have your AR pistol confiscated.
It makes no sense to me at all.
What AR pistol? Uh.
What the hell?
But yeah, like, okay, like certain things I think that can be can be can be regulated. But I don't agree that like there is a I don't agree that a government should have like carte blanche, just should just be
I'm
allowed
not
to.
saying that you should be able to just, whatever and no paperwork, but it's ridiculous that the whole thing comes down to how much money do you have and can you pay
Well, yeah,
for what you want.
yeah.
And that's not right.
I'm amazed bump stocks were ever illegal. Yeah, I don't know. I think that was a good one. And I also agree. Like, listen, I also agree with
Nothing wrong with binary triggers though, but bump stocks are no-nos.
Which, don't they do like the same effect?
Similar
Similar
outcome.
Similar
I guess.
outcome.
Binary trigger is pretty much it fires when you click it and you let it go.
Oh, okay. So,
It's not the same thing.
but effectively, like it
But
can.
that's okay. But bump stocks aren't unless you pay the government a certain fee.
Hold on.
And then
Shh,
it's
shh,
okay.
shh, 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 shh. We don't need to give any ideas. I mean, like, listen. It's
ridiculous.
Like even I'll go ahead and say the other thing is bad too. Yeah, no, I don't know. I think that like things that do things like bump stocks, I don't know, man. I don't know. Yikes. There's nothing wrong with like owning weapons to like.
Nothing wrong with it if you pay the government enough money though.
Right.
Everybody's missing the point.
Yeah. I don't know.
We're not saying that they're going away completely. We're saying you just have to pay the government
right
first. Give them a little of your sweet cheddar first, and then
Yeah.
you can have what you want.
Yeah, but it's like, well, I mean, but no. So I have a feeling to Econom's comment. I have a feeling that they're probably, because of that horrible incident that happened, in which case the person did use some type of, I believe it was like an AR pistol or something like that. They're thinking of like putting that down on regulation where you might have to have it registered, which fine, but
It already is when you buy it.
yeah,
You guys are missing the fucking point.
guns don't protect you. They don't prevent fascism. They don't make you safer. They are for sure fun. Hunting is fun, shooting in the range, but there are very narrow circumstances, which is a required tool. Well, yeah, I guess that's like why you would have one. But like, I feel like, you know, in my opinion, like, since we're already here,
Exactly, redacted.
I kind of feel like seeing, especially like knowing the type of people that have guns, I kind of want one too. Like, that's kind of like where my logic is, you know? But I mean, I'll admit, it is awesome going to the range. I'll admit that. In which case, I do want to go to the range again.
I'd like to see how anybody could argue that having something that you can use in your own defense doesn't make you safer when we live in a world where so many people are on the offense
Right.
and just do crazy things for whatever reason.
Yeah, I mean, like, there is obviously an argument for, like, making sure that, you know, if you want one to have your home safe, that's fine. And especially with, like, the type of, like, you know, with the type of people who have said guns, I don't know. It's uncomfortable.
Can think of 3 times that one has been beneficial to saving my life. And I haven't even been on this planet 30 years yet. So
yeah. So, like, you know, even
know.
to quote Karl Marx, like, even he understood that, like, under no pretext, like, should, you know, guns and ammunition be kept from the proletariat. I mean, like, there's a reason for that. Like, so I kind of, like, agree, and I'm a little bit, like, on the side of, like, making sure that people, if they want, you know, I understand that there's a lot of people who are, like, uncomfortable, and, like, unfortunately have also may have, like, personal stories maybe against guns. So I don't want to,
like... the good
like...
thing is, if you don't like them, you don't have to have them.
Yeah, and, like, I just don't want to, like... I want them to understand that, like, you know, I feel you, right? Like, I want people to understand, like, I feel that. And I feel... I mean, hey, if there was a situation where, like, everybody is, like, Thanos snapped, and, like, there was no guns, then maybe. But we...
So then we would all be using knives and rocks and
Right.
hammers and other things.
Right, but
I still don't see how that's fixing an issue.
Right,
a root issue.
My point being is, like, if there was, like, some, like, Thanos snap, if there was, like, some, like, mutual, like, Thanos snap where there's, like, no guns, then, like, maybe, because there are, like, countries that, like, don't have the type of gun culture that we do, but and then they have, like, different and they have different rules, they have more restrictions and stuff like that. So, like, I could see that being easier in a place like Denmark or something like that, but, like, here, not really. I also feel like a point was just made. So hold on, so if I don't like them, I don't have to have one, but I also feel like a point was just made that having one makes you safer because there are weird people wandering around. No, meaning, like, the point is that you can choose whether or not you want to have one. You're all just a bunch of dorks.
But
True.
it's not your... it should be nobody's decision but the individual whether they get to have that or not.
Right. I heard somewhere...
Am I saying that you should be able to go to Publix and just buy whatever gun you want and, you know, nobody know? No, that's not what any of us are saying. It's... I mean, we didn't even bring this up. Somebody else did.
Yeah. I also heard that that much of the gun culture is created by gun companies because they lost the market after the Civil War. I don't know. Maybe. My overall point is, I guess I'm kind of stuck on this issue. Why is this such a huge sticking point for this country? Why is it such a fucked up situation? I think it's like I think it's just like the reality is, like, that's just, like, the culture of this country. And I think that, like, there's already 400 something million, like, guns here, so, like, I don't know.
My thinking on that is, I will say that a lot of people, there's different kinds of gun owners. You have the people who like the hunting. You have the people who like sport shooting. You have people who just want them for defensive purposes, who may never even, you know, once or twice a year, maybe they go to the range just to practice. Then you have the other side that is wildly consumerized. And that's not exactly the best side of it.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
you know, I mean,
yeah,
it is what it is. You know, when you get it, you fill out paperwork. People know you have it.
Yeah, like,
in a lot of cases, in a lot of states, there's a shell casing that's on file.
Right, and things
are
like
there
that.
ways that we can? There are ways that we can make it better to where they're more tracked that way. And if you do something bad, okay, cool, we're gonna find you.
Right.
Instead of just saying, okay, let's be like the war on drugs. Let's just make them all illegal.
Right.
Well,
that doesn't work.
That
either.
really worked out well for us, didn't it?
Now, somebody brought up a point, or maybe I was just like misreading. But I think that there's nothing wrong with making sure that things are regulated and people. And there's another thing. I think that gun culture also has to be reformed. I think that there has to be since it's already an embedded thing here, has to be focused on safety, proper use, and proper storage, and all of this other safety first kind of thing. I would even go as far as saying all gun manufacturers should be giving out trigger locks for free or something like that, an encouragement of hey, this is serious.
When you buy a new gun, it comes with a lock.
Yeah, but not like a trigger lock. It's like one of those loop things that you have to tie around.
Right.
What I mean is a specific trigger lock, or stress the need.
Yeah,
for...
there are ways it could be improved for sure.
Yeah, what I'm my point is the gun culture needs to be reformed in that sense. To me, if you don't want them, you don't have to have. Similar to if you don't want to use a mask. No, not really, because there
That's
isn't
not the same thing.
No.
How does somebody carrying a gun affect your well-being? It
Right.
won't.
Right, because a mask is you can't
A mask
control the
is
virus.
totally different.
Yeah, a mask is you can't control that virus, right? You need that mask to protect other people, and other people need that mask to protect you. We're not. Yeah, the same arguments were made in Australia, and all of those arguments ended up being false once aggressive gun controls were brought in. Australia would have to keep those laws in place if they weren't effective. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it won't. If there was a situation where I'm pretty sure Australia never had the amount of guns that we do here. I'm pretty sure if we had a way of mutual disarmament of everybody, including the police, if we had a Thanos snap where nobody had guns, I think that maybe we could begin to have an argument for that. But I don't know. But that's just how I think. I think that having limited in scope regulations, having ways. Dan Simpson, hello. Love your face. Having things where you having things where maybe there can be even an argument for specific red flag laws. If you have a diagnosed, there's a medical file on you of, for example, of a medical a health condition, for example, I don't know, schizophrenia. Maybe that person shouldn't have a gun. A person who has on file a domestic abuse, a domestic abuse charge, that person shouldn't have a gun. Sorry. These are things that obviously it is important. Australia had a mass shooting problem. They had a real suicide problem. These two problems are particularly vastly improved. When most people don't have guns, you don't have to be aggressive. For instance, here the police don't carry guns, so the chance of police shootings is very low. Yeah, that's why exactly. If there was a situation where literally just Thanos snap, boom. Everybody, including the police, had limitations, or just guns are just gone. Maybe now we can start talking about that.
I don't know. I've been around them since I was a small child. I've never had any issues. I haven't had any of them magically up and kill anybody while I was at the grocery store, or I don't. I just don't see it.
Yeah, the problem
we have isn't with the actual weapons. The problem we have is with the mentality of the people. But we're also caught up talking about the actual. Are we gonna ban cars because of how many people drunk drive? I just don't see it, guys. Sorry.
Yeah. So
There
I guess
are way more effective ways to kill
so I guess
people
I,
than
I
guns.
I guess like the next thing that I would do is like, if only all gun owners would that the thing Memmius is the thing Memmius is like that comes with like the whole gun culture, right? The point being is that if you have this, it's because you understood and you as a you understood and you're taking the responsibility to own this firearm. So therefore, like, it would behoove you to be as responsible and careful, right? That's the whole point. And also Econonym just brings up a good point as well. What if we because I could say this. What if we do this? And I turn back to my 4 pillars all the time. Whenever I have trouble with an issue, I divert it back to the 4 pillars, right? What if we diverted resources to making sure people had food, housing, education, and healthcare? People's material conditions would vastly improve, and I believe that then, wow, a lot of this.
Gee, you mean we wouldn't all be trying to kill each other over pennies?
Yeah. So like,
Huh.
I mean, there you go.
What a concept.
There
And
you-
thank you for the person who put what I was trying to say into better words. I'm very tired, and I have a migraine, so
Yeah,
I'm
so
just here.
so yeah, so like yeah, I completely see that. So now that Econonym brought that up, it's just like, what if we made sure that people had these basic necessities met? And I'm sure that just overall, a lot of, like, number one, a lot of crime would be gone. Number two, the necessity starts becoming less and less for guns and things like that, right? Because obviously it won't become as a prominent thing that you need, or as a prominent thing that people talk about all the time, because, well, a lot of crime has gone down. There's like,
Right.
you know,
And them existing isn't going to facilitate people doing what they choose to do with them.
yeah,
In much way that the person who asked our cars designed for that, they're designed to be driven. How they're driven is up to the person behind the wheel.
yeah,
Do
No,
they
I-
tell you in a gun owner's manual to pick it up and go shoot people? They don't
right.
say to go run over people or to go drunk drive in a car owner's manual.
Right, and like, I think that, like, yeah, of course, like, the issue is like the other side of the argument, just to play like a second of devil's advocate, is like, well, I mean, like, guns increase the lethality of when you decide to do this stuff. And it's like, well, yes, it's true. However, I think having the however, I think that also, if you limit and you improve the material conditions of people, maybe it won't lead to that, you know? Maybe it won't lead to that. I think that it could be a step forward, and maybe, and if you do, and you decide something, depending on the state you do it, yeah, exactly. And you know what happens if you do bad
You
stuff?
know what happens if you kill somebody?
Yeah,
You go
so,
to
like-
jail. Hopefully, if
Right,
the
and-
legal
and-
system doesn't drop the ball.
Right, and like the
And
point,
that's again not the gun's fault.
and the point being is that there should be common sense like stuff, like, hey, look, if there's like certain things, like if you have like domestic violence on your record, then yeah, you shouldn't own a gun. Sorry. You shouldn't vote. You shouldn't vote. I'm reading chat. Sorry. If you have a domestic violence charge, you shouldn't be able to have a gun. Okay? If you have specific limited in scope, like, things, like, you know, maybe maybe like schizophrenia, this probably, you know, you probably shouldn't have a gun. And if you do that, yeah, exactly.
It's definitely something that can be looked at, but I feel like it would have to be pretty well thought out system, because that could definitely be used or abused, I should say. In
Apparently
that
it's easier to
case,
get a gun.
Probably like half the veterans in the country wouldn't qualify to buy a firearm
Right.
due to PTSD.
Well,
Which,
well, no, PTSD is PTSD is different. I'm talking about like
so
specific like conditions that like I just don't know if like I would be okay with like someone who is you know, on the like schizophrenia, like being able to own a gun, right? You know, if
Right.
I don't know, like that's what I'm saying, like these type of stuff that makes sense. um I would be in favor
Okay.
of, and I would also be in favor of I would also be in favor of like trying to maybe I'm sorry, Idan Simpson, did I shout you out? Folks, go check
You
out
did.
Idan. Yeah, oh, I did. Okay. um if you, for example,
So go ahead. Sorry.
I lost my train of thought. No, in
Well,
no.
what I was going to say was in response to Memius, apparently it's easier to get a gun in the US than it is to vote. I would disagree with that. I used to sell guns. I used to be a firearms instructor. So I feel like I have a little bit of experience, about a half a decade in the industry. Not, a ton, but a little bit. When you go purchase a firearm, you have to fill out an ATF 4473. You get a background check run on you. You have to show ID. I mean, it's not as easy as going to vote. I went to vote and all they wanted to do was see my driver's license, and that's it. I vote.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
it's not at all. I know a lot of people make it seem like you just walk in and, oh, here's your gun, there you go. Now, I will say one exception is, for example, if you live in a state where you can have a concealed weapons permit, a lot of states, Florida being one of them, if you already have a permit, which by the way, you have to go through a process to get, you don't just walk in and buy it. You have to have a class, whatever, it's a whole process. If you have a concealed weapons permit, you can take a gun home the same day.
right.
But that's not just some person who's never shot a gun. This is somebody who's gone and taken a class with a certified instructor
Yeah, and
and
I'm
gone
not
through all the legal channels to get a form.
right, and I'm not
So
saying like,
Carlos and I both know that. We've both gone through that process.
when you're waiting in line for a guy to buy a gun in AR, is someone allowed to give you water? True. Yes, they are.
Yeah, they are. They
they
sure
are.
are, but not when you're waiting to vote.
Yeah. Okay. So the thing is, like, I have no problems waiting. Um, in terms of like, in terms of getting a firearm, I have no problems going through my background checks and going through whatever it is that I need to do, right? As part of like whatever common sense restrictions are in place. Like I have no problems waiting. I have no problems submitting my application, waiting, and
Same here.
yeah,
I mean, when there was the big gun scare last March when COVID hit, even with my weapons permit, I should have been able to leave the same day, but because there was such an influx of people across the country buying firearms, the whole ATF system crashed. You couldn't even call in for an approval. It was insane. So let that be said that even though you have the physical permit, when you go to buy a gun at a store, they still have to do a background check and make sure nothing's changed in status since you got that.
yeah. But to Idan Simpson's it's Idan Simpson's point. I do believe that our means with the tier 1 subscription, 3 months coming in hot. Thank you. But to Idan Simpson's point, I do think that a democratic society, 3 month streak. Thank you so much. A democratic society, it should be as easy, as smooth, as accessible to be able to vote as possible, right? I think that like in every democratic society, like that is the most sacred thing that you could have in a democracy is your ability to make sure that it is as easy, smooth, and accessible as possible to be able to vote. And I do think that any attempts to limit that is disturbing and should be immediately condemned. So
I
yeah,
agree.
to
I
Idan
think
Simpson's
what we
point.
really need to focus on. Oh, sorry, Carlos.
Yeah, I think to like
Thought you were wrapping up.
Oh no, yeah. To Idan Simpson's point is like, I do believe that we have that as a democratic society we should have it should be as easy as possible to be able to vote. So yes, I will say that. Go ahead.
I kind of forgot what I was gonna say now. We've been taking turns doing that.
Yeah.
Oh
That's
man.
okay. I mean, like, for those of you guys that have that were here, that weren't here earlier, yesterday I was feeling like completely man, completely bad, like the whole entire day, and it's like frustrating because I wanted to do stuff, but I couldn't operate. I was having like dangerously like low blood pressure. I mean, to the point where it was worrying my sister, who's a nurse. And I just wasn't functioning. I was dizzy. I was having like, I felt cold. And I was having migraines. And at the end of the night, as I was trying to get to sleep, I just got this huge migraine, and I felt like, man, if this is how I wake up, like I don't know, I've never felt like this in my life. It was definitely something bizarre and weird. But yeah, so I completely feel you. So I'm not here today. I'm not all here today. It's been it's been a rough day, and like I took yesterday off with the purpose of trying to like, have a day off, and like, geez, if I simply disagree. If anyone has threatened me, at least he'll have to shoot me. Who knows? People do not have guns. If he knows people who don't have guns, there's no need from his point of view. Yeah, I mean, like, I think that I think that maybe the issue is being driven more towards like, I think that the issue should be driven towards the ability for society to have the basic necessities. I think like the conversation should be shifted to making sure people have food, housing, education, and healthcare. I mean, how often would that happen? Why would people need to rob somebody's house? Why would people need to engage in like in crime like this if they have food, housing, education, and healthcare? Food, housing, education,
They
and health.
won't.
The necessity becomes a lot less, right? So if you want to like handle like this gun conversation, I think that if you're wanting to reduce guns, and you want to reduce gun violence, and you want to disincentivize people from like needing guns, then let's improve people's material conditions, and let's eliminate a lot of this right off the bat, I think that if we move in that direction, the incentivized, it would be less incentivized in order for you to have these type of arguments like, oh yeah, well, I need to protect my house from robbers. Well, I mean, why would there be robbers if everybody has food, housing, education, and healthcare? One thing is frustrating about this issue is you bump up against other completely fucked up situations in this country. For instance, you start thinking like, well, maybe if you have a record, but then it's like, well, treatment are just far from fair. True, it's easier for certain people to get things off the record and being convicted
Very
of certain
true.
things. Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Yeah,
Or-
I,
yeah.
as usual, would like to see people focus on bigger things than what they're told the issue
And
is.
right, and like the thing is,
let's be real.
and like the thing
I would
is,
like to know why. I would like to know why everybody. The first thing they say when talking about getting rid of guns is, "Why would anybody need an AR?" Do
right,
you know
well,
how many other exactly equally, I guess, for this use and purpose, let's say deadly. How many equally deadly rifles there are, but that's the only one everybody wants to get banned,
well, yeah,
or
because
that they
it's,
can say they want to get banned.
yeah,
Huh.
I mean, like it sure, there may be like arguments in that sense, but like again, if you want to, why not do both? Like what I want is to have a society where like we necessarily don't even have to have this conversation because people's needs are met, right? And therefore, it becomes less necessary. I mean,
If people aren't starving, if people have somewhere to live, if people aren't miserable, you know, they're not going to be as inclined to go out and do these things.
right. Right. So like again, I think that it's just like it's just one of those conversations where I feel like there are, points. There are points and there are things that need to be restricted and there are things that need to be limited and there are laws that you can deploy to there are laws that you can deploy for common sense. I have zero problems with any of those. So I think that's like the main like position. And I also think that like yeah, it's just like that's going to be my position. I don't talk necessarily about this very often, but yes, I do own like firearms, but I don't want to like boast about it. I don't have them on display like a certain congressperson. I don't like glorify I don't glorify like the fact that I have a firearm.
I mean, you guys might see me working on one of mine from time to time, but
Well, yeah,
you
you're
see me
just-
working on my Jeep too.
Yeah,
If
so-
I'm busy doing something on Saturday, I still have to stream, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, my point being is like I'm not making a conscious effort to glorify or to like make myself bigger or to like or to
You mean
like
you're not going around preaching to everybody you see the greatness of owning a firearm?
right, exactly. I don't and it's true. I think that a good critique is like we here as a country we have this like over glorification of like gun culture and stuff like that. So I get that. And I think
very
it's
true.
Yeah, I get that, and it's problematic. It's like if you even attempt to like have a conversation about like common sense like regulations, people sometimes lose their minds. People
Yep.
get very very like they just like snap like completely like they lose their minds if you even talk about having a specific like common sense regulation. But that's just where I stand. I'm just saying crime is not always driven by materialistic needs. People commit crime sometimes. Okay, but like, yeah, but there'll be less of them. There'll be less of them. Like proud proud CIA asset. There'll be a lot less of them. There won't be that. How do I say this? There won't be that incentive. Australia wasn't starving or miserable. We had a much stronger welfare system in Australia, but we still had a mass shooting problem until properly regulated firearms. Yeah, which again, I wouldn't have a problem with that if you have like common sense regulations. I'm willing to have that conversation. What works, what doesn't. What are you willing to propose? How can we make it better? What can we do to influence? What can we do to influence gun culture? Things like that. You know what? Who here has listened to Bo of the Fifth Column?
Huh.
Who?
I was just looking at a chart for violent homicides in Australia.
Gotta head out. Have a good one. You have a good one.
And it was looking like the peak was 1999. They had 385. And in 2013, however many years after the ban was, it's only down to 273.
Yeah.
So it went down, but
yeah, of course. Like I said, common sense stuff might work, and I'm totally on board with that. So whoever listens here to Bo of the Fifth Column, I think he did a great video on that. In like the in the sense of like gun control and like the gun debate. I think he did a great video on that, so I highly recommend you guys check it out. Go find it on YouTube. Just look at Switzerland; they have more guns per capita, but the mass shooting is not like the USA. Yeah, their gun culture is different. They are incredibly disciplined. They are incredibly disciplined. They're like the Swiss are incredibly disciplined when it comes to firearms, and they do have regulations. They do have regulations. Just because they have a lot more guns per capita, they have regulations where they can store their ammo, and I think they have regulations on how all of that works, right? So they're extremely disciplined as to how they deal with this. And I think that we could learn a thing or two in terms of like having safety and discipline, and like having this getting rid of like this over glorification of like guns, right? I think
Absolutely.
that, yeah, I think we can see, but we can make headway in that direction, right? And I'm open to having these type of discussions. These are fine discussions to have, and really interesting. I live in Zurich. Every home has a gun, and I believe it's part of limited training that is required, right? And but there are rules in place as to each. I think they even have like rules as to storage and proper safes and stuff like that. More guns than a 25-hour minimum wage, right? Which brings Dustin again back to the whole entire circle of like, if you meet people's material conditions, I think that it does help a lot. I'm not saying it's going to solve everything, but I do think that it will improve a lot. It will improve a lot of these core issues that people have, and I think that maybe that's the conversation we should be happening. I feel we need a middle of the road, but why people are scared until Manchin is in the Senate, we aren't going to pass anything substantial, to be honest. Yeah, okay, so like, here's the thing. Proud CIA asked it. The thing that like the narrative that gets thrown around is like, oh, Biden's coming, kicking down your doors and stealing your guns, is also a straw man. That's not gonna happen. I really doubt that. So we can kind of like, it's a hysteria argument, in my opinion. What is going to happen is we might have more rules, and we might have like regulations. Maybe now the pistol braces might now need registration or whatever. Fine, okay. We can have a conversation, agree or disagree, like with that. That's fine. We can have a conversation about that. But the idea that there's going to be like squads coming into kicking down your door and taking your guns away is
that's never gonna happen, people.
It's a right-wing meme. Okay. Off topic, did you hear the story about, I'll put in Elon Smirk, some monkeys literally playing a video game telepathically using a brain chip? Yeah, I have. I didn't see the video though, but it's like bizarre. It's a weird thing, Memius. It's a weird thing.
That's freaky. That sounds really
just build 2 more new NASA headquarters if we have to, just to get Medicare for all. Absolutely. I honestly, Dustin, like,
I hope he does build Jurassic Park.
Even Elon Musk is gonna build Jurassic Park. I think ammo should be ridiculously expensive. Oh, like again, like we can have the conversation about like what you want to do, in terms of like restrictions and stuff. Absolutely, like we can have a conversation about that. I think it's one of the reasons gun control got through Austria is because it was conservative government. Huh. Interesting. Now that I didn't know, Champagne Socialist. Interesting. Yeah, so yeah, gun control can be talked about, and I'm open to hear like different perspectives and different how do I say it? Different regulations that people want to propose. But at the end of the day, like things that are restricted doesn't mean you can't get them. So like again, we can have a conversation about this. We can have also the implications of like what said policy will do, how this will affect people, and like especially minorities. I mean, like we want to make sure that like what we propose as gun control is going to be like fair and effective, right? Like that's my point. Which again, I'm
Yep.
completely fine with like opening conversations about gun control and what we want to do and how we can solve these problems. Because yes, I mean, it is sad to hear. It is extremely sad to hear that in the United States, this year alone, it's only 4 months in, we've had over 100 shootings, mass shootings. I mean, Jesus.
It's disturbing.
It's hard to it's a hard pill to swallow. So I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, we don't, like we I'm not gonna sit here and say we can't have the conversation. In the U.S., Republicans have a better chance of using BLM than providing gun control legislation. Yeah, that's true. Oof. Like any type of like, even if it looks like it might be gun control legislation, like you will have zero GOP support. That is true. But either way, like the point being is I'm completely open to having these discussions. No ammo shouldn't be expensive. Someone isn't going to care for one bullet. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's a good point. And also, like, I'm very worried if we propose, like, again, I want to make sure that the proposals that we do have are fair and effective. Because I don't want to take away like the ability for like poor people to be able to have this, right? And especially like minorities. So I want to make sure that like we also make sure that it's fair and effective. The types of legislation that we do employ. Even centrists in US are hawkish on stuff. Yes, that's true. Because it's like people think that like once you hear the word gun control, it's like it kind of sets off like a response, and like I do get it, but I also want to make sure that what we do is exactly aimed at producing the results that we aim to do. Like if we really are focusing on trying to get rid of like crime or whatever it is that they propose, it's like I want to make sure that what you're doing is actually going to do that. And I think that while some common sense stuff like it's like some common sense stuff is like definitely okay. It's like saying we need to talk racism about white people. What does that mean? What does that mean? Beefaroni? True. Beefaroni. So I think that, like, I'm not exactly, again, opposed to having, like, common sense stuff. Like, okay, so if X, like, bump stock gets regulated, sure. Fine. If, maybe, the trigger that you were talking about that allows you to like double shoot or like double tap like easily. Okay, fine. We can talk about these things.
Having to get a tax stamp is bullshit.
Yeah.
All it is money.
Right.
I do not agree that having to get a tax stamp for any kind of firearm does anything to prevent people from having them.
How much regulation is around ammunition?
Not sorry.
It
would make more sense if when you went to buy one of these things, you were required to take classes.
Yeah. How much regulation
Whether you can... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, how much regulation is around ammunition? I mean, if you buy ammo, I'm pretty sure they can track you. Like, if you buy...
You have to show your driver's license.
Yes, that's true. So, if you buy ammunition, absolutely, there will be a way of tracking you. In terms of, like... If you decide that this is what you're going to do with it, there will be a way of tracking you, and there will be a way of doing the okay, dude, how about you take a second, my friend? There will be a way of putting that shell to your name, I'm pretty sure. If you do something bad, you will be identified.
I mean, I'm not saying that it would be a bad thing to know who knows what. I'm saying that the idea that having to pay for a tax stamp to own something, which you can still own if you can give them enough money.
Right.
That doesn't help anything.
Right, because
Why
you can
isn't it
still
that you
own it.
have to have a mandatory training course or something like that? You know
Okay,
what I
so
mean?
that's what,
Like,
but that's my point.
what
Like,
does
but
just giving the government a check for X amount of money? That's ridiculous.
but that's my point. Like, if you want to talk about having a system where, like, okay, hey, look, if you want to own a firearm, from now on you're gonna have to take 2 classes of 2 hours each or whatever. Okay.
Yeah, it's like that in some states already. It should be something that it's like that everywhere.
Okay, fine. Like, you see, but these are things that are that are aimed and have like common sense into it, which is what I was stressing. Like, there can be regulations that make sense, and I'm fine with that. Okay, I'm fine with having conversations like, hey, you know what? How about we make it so that people have to take X class, or people have to do X amount of hours at a range, or people have to do whatever, or you know, fine,
Yes,
okay,
just
we
like
can
it
have
is
this.
in some states already.
Okay, we can have conversations
That's
about that.
that makes way more sense to me than the simple fact that the government says, "Oh, you guys can't you guys can't have these unless you pay us this fee here, fill out
Unless you
this
pay,
paper."
yeah,
Then it's all good. Then you can have it.
right. Which
I'm
it's like,
sorry, that's stupid.
yeah, and not only that, like, it's like, okay, that means that only the rich will have it. And why is
So
that?
right. So Dustin, for example, in Florida, you literally only have to take the class. All you have to do is basically fire one round downrange. Most instructors use a 22 caliber. It really varies by states. Some places it's very easy to get a permit. Other places it's not, and you don't have to have a permit to buy a gun
Right,
in all states.
right,
So if you're wanting to buy a gun and you don't mind waiting, you won't ever even take a class, and who knows if you even know or understand how to operate it.
right, which is a problem, um, which is kind of like a problem. Like, you know, and I'm not saying, like, again, this doesn't mean that people shouldn't have like the ability to get it. I'm just saying that, like, we need some type of common sense, a curb, you know, a common sense curb. Like, okay, look, buddy, you now you're gonna take a whatever, or look, now you gotta do this. Like, somebody said,
Right.
like a driving course. Okay, well, exactly. What is a driving course? It's a written, and
I'm
then
100% for that.
and it's a driving course, and it's a written test. So isn't that kind of like what Florida does? Except Florida's actual like manual test is pretty lax. Like, you know, you fire one round and like that's it. But like, what if you had the exact
Pretty
same
much.
roadmap where you have a class in the classroom, just like a driving test, a class in the classroom, and then a full day at the range where the instructor teaches you the in and outs of a gun, or
And
2
different
days.
types of weapon.
Yeah, or 2 days, whatever. See, these are conversations that we can have about what is effective and what is fair. Okay, because, like, again, I don't want it to be like you said, like, oh, you can have it, but you can have it, but you have to pay X amount. Well, that just makes me feel like that's only for rich people, and that's not cool. If someone breaks into your home and either hits you or points a gun at you, then you should have a few guns around to defend yourself. Also, if you don't know any form of martial arts, right? Well, like, the idea is, like, hopefully, when we move into a better society where people's material conditions are met, that becomes less and less of an issue, right?
Absolutely. I mean, we're both trained in hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah.
I'm trained with not only like every type of firearm, but with throwing weapons too, different knives. I still know what I prefer.
So, the point being is, like, I feel like if you move in the direction of, like, what we always call the 4 pillars to make sure people have food, housing,
I
education, and healthcare, I think that, like, yeah, I mean, if people had these material conditions met, what are the odds that somebody's going to literally break into your house? Very little. I guess it could happen, and it may happen sporadically, I'm sure, because, you know, it's not going to solve everything 100%, but you wouldn't have that incentive because, I mean, the reality is this country, in terms of like income inequality and in terms of like this other problems, is we don't even have healthcare. Okay, we don't even have healthcare. So I think that solving the problem by taking it from that way will result in better will result in better will result in better outcomes. And of course, what if we combine it with a couple of like common sense stuff, like classes and stuff like that? Concealed carry classes, 2 days, and you have to hit a target 20 times, 7 yards, whatever. Sure.
That makes way more sense than Florida, where if you get your test done at the gun show, you don't even hit a target. You shoot into a bucket.
Yeah, so, okay, like, I mean, common sense stuff. I can't remember at all if I was one day or multi-day classes, but I looked it up. Only one required for semi-automatic rifle safety certification, takes an hour online, $20. Not bad. Necessarily, like, not bad. Thank you for the follow, the Gospel of Weeb. The point being is, like, I just want to make sure that whatever we do is fair and effective. That's it. I mean, that's basically...
I agree. Fair, effective, and the biggest thing that will help us here is education.
That's another thing. Yeah, sure.
I spend a lot of my time just donating my time doing training for people. And I mean, ammo's expensive right now, so to have people come over and train them, it's not exactly cheap.
Yeah, but hey, maybe because that person now, because I think that like the majority of like incidents, do happen as a result of accidental discharge, if I'm correct.
There is no such thing as accident. There is such thing as negligent.
Negligent, right? Is the legal term negligent discharge? Or,
it's not an accident. It's negligence.
It's you being negligent and like, hey, what if here's a common sense proposal? If you have two counts of negligent discharge, you shouldn't have a gun.
So, like, just simple example of gun safety. When you were up here and we were shooting in my backyard, when you went to shoot my gun, did I just hand you the gun?
No.
What'd I do?
You checked the gun. Oh, and there you go. Right at the wrong time.
Lord.
Right at the wrong time. Yeah, the point being is like you don't just do these things, right? There's processes. There's safety.
Right.
But people need to be taught this. And again, we weren't like and this is very rare that I talk about this because like I don't want to give the impression that like, this is like, oh yeah, over glorification of like guns and stuff like that. I think of it as a very serious topic, and I think of it as something that requires discipline, responsibility.
Absolutely.
So I don't go around like telling people. I don't like that. I don't like doing that. I don't like telling people. I don't go around telling everybody that this is what it is. I don't put them behind, like I said, like a certain congresswoman does.
Right. How many times did I make you get on video camera with me and disassemble and assemble your gun?
Right, at least twice.
Before you ever shot it.
At least twice. But is a discharge of firearm carelessness? An accidental is when there is a mechanical failure. Oh, okay, I see. So
yep.
There are, okay, so yes, my miss is correct. Okay. The point being,
absolutely true.
Yeah, the point being is like, hey, maybe if you get charged with 2 negligent discharges, like that's it for you, because like, I mean, come on, man. Once, maybe.
Yeah, really.
Like twice? No way. Nah.
Yeah, whoops, sorry about that.
Yeah, try to be respectful, my friend. Because they said some cringe stuff. I forget what it was. I think it was inappropriate. There's a reason why I did that. But yeah, like, my point being is like, these are conversations that we can have, right? I'm not opposed to being like, okay, hey, look, buddy, two negligent discharges that are provably your fault because you didn't properly do X, Y, and Z, sorry. You know, or if you have like a domestic abuse on your record, sorry. If you things like this, I believe are common sense. Maybe things like this I think are probably better. Are probably like better. I think that also, again, moving in the direction of just making sure people's material conditions are met can also help in the long term. These are things that should be discussed. And furthermore, I think that we don't need to give the right any more ammunition in terms of like how in terms of like being able to manufacture like hysteria, right? I don't think we need to be giving the right this, and I don't think that it's gonna help like politically. So there's just like a lot of reasons why I think that the conversation should be open, and the conversation at the end of the day should provide, again, fair and effective results, and that's all there is to it, I think.
Agreed.
Yeah. I don't think that that's too much of a nuclear take. I hope that's not a I hope that's not a I hope that's not a too hot of a take. I think it's like poblano spicy. Okay, it's a poblano spicy take, but it's not like Carolina Reaper take. You know, I think it's like a poblano level of spice. Okay, I think, in my opinion. But that's just the way I feel. That's just the way I feel about that on that issue. And I think that maybe we should have more constructive conversations instead of like necessarily be yelling in terms of like the whole gun debate. You know, I think
Yes,
that's
I
just
agree.
me.
It's
No.
easier when you actually can go through it and discuss without it just being trying to hit on those very few points that people are familiar with because of the media.
Right, that's another thing. I that's another thing that kind of like, even just going back to like, just using Tucker Carlson as an example. I mean, like, the dude's job is literally to fire up and rile up people. I mean, against for example, against immigrants. He's very, very hard on that. And I don't think that like we kind of, for certain topics we have to understand that there's a lot of media manipulation. Noam Chomsky, again, does his entire work manufacturing consent is exactly this. The media telling us, hey Shleem, can you please stop spamming the chat, please? I'd really appreciate that. Is the idea of like manufacturing consent, right? There are some things that are genuine to be outraged about. Yes, there are some things that are objectively bad and objectively on the rise, and there are certain things that we just have to be aware of and be prepared. But to be real, the Democrats don't have the numbers in the Senate to bring anything particularly effective on gun control. Our changes weren't just restrictions; there were buyback schemes and amnesties and such. So it was several pronged attack on the problem. Maybe. I mean, again, I'm not really exactly open to that. Closed to that. I agree that this shouldn't be a priority. You have bigger issues to deal with, but in the ideal scenario, I don't think that anyone should feel the need to have one. Restrictions should be there to stop the ones still wanting the guns for quote unquote fun. Well, I do agree with you on the point that like maybe we should be moving to the conditions where people feel like less like people feel like their needs are taken care of. Yeah, I feel like that's true. I feel like that's probably in a good direction that we should be heading towards. So yeah, I think that
I'll just let that one go because I don't agree at all.
yeah.
I mean, I don't want anybody to feel like they have to have one, but
right, and like I said, I understand that
not
like
up to the very small percent of people that don't like them to decide.
Yeah,
the rest of the
and
country.
I don't want also like to misgauge people, and I don't want to disregard like, you know, people who have family members or anything like that who have suffered at, like, you know, because of gun violence and stuff like that. I want to make sure again that we take the issue with a grounding on reality, severity, responsibility, and discipline. Until they detach themselves from the policymakers must be the people to do it. It requires grassroots social movement. You can't just keep. Yeah. So
I
James
agree
Napper.
with that completely.
Yeah, exactly. And like not only that, again, I believe like Bo, the fifth column has a great video on that, which probably puts into better words than what I can come up with. But it's like asking Bigfoot to use the restroom. Okay, dude, like I have no idea what you're trying to say. You and I are the same. You and I are the same. Yeah, we're all human beings. Yeah, true. But the point being is like that, you know. Let's make sure that we have a conversation, and let's make sure that you know, like Champagne Socialist was saying, like we have whatever we do is to make sure that the policies are fair and effective and do what they said they're going to do. Simple, plain and simple.
Yep.
And just move and just like move that and just move that conversation in that direction. I think I don't know. Again, I feel like this is a I feel like this is a poblano spicy level take. Okay, I feel like it's not really that big of a hot take, but it's a little bit. It's a little bit of a It's a little bit like poblano spicy, but not like not Carolina Reaper spicy. Okay. I think that that's the way I feel. And that's just like also acknowledging like my own biases too. But also acknowledging that like there's you know, also grounded in reality, I think, as well. Let me see what we have here. Folks, it seems like we have a fake COVID vaccination cards.
What?
Yeah, this is going to be a problem, especially after trying to get over I think that like trying to get over this pandemic, which I'm pretty sure everybody is tired of at this point. I mean, this is going to be incredibly frustrating because I don't want people to like fake a COVID vaccination, okay? People need to understand that this is a very real pandemic and that we need to get over this. And the only way to do it, or one of the ways to do it, is usually inoculation. And yes, that requires a vaccine. And yes, we have 3 vaccines who so far, so good. We have shown we've posted overwhelming amounts of good data. Showing that for like the vaccines are pretty effective. Yeah, that person's just like randomly spamming stuff. I apologize, dude. If you want to come back and say something like coherent, sure. America will not be able to change. Yes, sir. I agree with that. I think crucially, one part of the social movement argument is that it must be nonpartisan. It has to be separate from the Democratic Party, or otherwise you're just going to replicate electoral patterns. It's hard to do without those resources, but I think it could allow it to be more genuine. Yeah, I think so too. So let me actually bring this.
That point.
Yeah, let me bring up this article because I think that this is important to talk about. Why is this even a thing? I think that if you're caught with this, there should be some type of like fine or consequence, because like this is going to be totally antithetical and possibly moving us in the wrong direction. In order for and like I kind of bring this back to improving people's material conditions. People might be encouraged or incentivized to make these fake vaccination record cards to be able to go back to work because they don't have, because they need to. And I think this is this being a thing is a verdict on how we handled it, I think, because there would be no need for there to be fake vaccination record cards if everybody was taken care of and we had a plan and we actually deployed the plan as was told to us by the experts. So I believe that we'll go over this article here. A black market in fake vaccination record cards is reaching epidemic proportions online. Fraudsters have been hawking knockoffs of the 3x4-inch cards on retail sites including eBay, Etsy, and Shopify, as well as other social media sites like Facebook, TikTok, and the New York Times reported.
Fraudsters have been hawking knockoffs of the 3x4-inch cards on retail sites including eBay, Etsy, and Shopify, as well as on the social media sites Facebook and TikTok, the New York Times reported this week. The Post, meanwhile, has found dozens of online DIY guides for printing fake vaccination cards at home. Wow.
Yeah, that's not cool.
The counterfeiting has ballooned in recent weeks following news that an official vaccination card could soon become a central requirement to travel on airplanes and attend events. And sellers and buyer are breaking federal law by falsifying vaccine documents and fraudulently reproducing the Center for Disease Control and Prevention logo, which is featured on every card's upper right-hand corner.
So
in warning that the
Yeah, I was just gonna say that the Biden administration has not really mentioned anything about having this required, although it would be good. It'd be like the equivalent of having, like, you know how when you get to school, when you get registered for school, the first thing that they ask the parents for is the vaccination record of the kids to make sure that they're vaccinated against X, Y, and Z. Something like that to a degree, I think, could be warranted. But the Biden administration has shown no inclination that they're even going to do anything like this. So why would they need so much fakes anyways? I'm sorry, go ahead.
In warning that counterfeiters risk prosecution, the Federal Bureau of Investigation advises if you did not receive the vaccine, do not buy fake vaccine cards, do not make your own vaccine cards, and do not fill in blank vaccination record cards with false information.
No, the vaccines are not experimental and do not go against Nuremberg codes. How about you take a second take a second and look at that. I've seen this narrative, so I'm gonna just respond to that really quickly. I've seen this narrative that the vaccine is somehow like some type of experimental thing that like nobody should be taking it. You know where this is coming from? We actually went over it last weekend. We saw it in the email that we went over about the owner of Gab and how like vaccines are experimental and that, like, you know, we shouldn't take them because they're experimental and blah 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 blah, and they're made with fetal whatever. I mean, like it was some like bananas type. It was just some like really out there email that we went over, and it's this exact talking point. And my point being is that email gets around. These type of talking points get around, and then all of a sudden we have people talking about how vaccines are actually experimental and go against the Nuremberg. What? Yeah, a little bit off the rails there. So no, that is completely not true. The vaccines are not experimental. They've been tested to a great extent in the time that they've been developed. And every time we do a data set, it seems like it looks good. I would speak to Doc Midnight, who can probably interpret that better than I could, or better than, you know, he's actually a doctor. But the layman's point of view is that the data looks overwhelmingly positive, and there's no real cause of concern in terms of like what we've been seeing. And furthermore, the idea, this talking point that it's an experimental vaccine is a lie. First of all, we've had mRNA vaccines before, I believe, for different stuff. So the technology wasn't exactly just magically appeared. It existed before, if I'm correct. Somebody can fact check me. But everything here is not is definitely not experimental in the sense that like we're going in this blind. No, if you don't take any vaccines, everyone will stay and get ill. Isn't that true? Yeah, if people don't take the vaccine, we're gonna be in perpetuity where we are. And like I'm trying to like not stay here. I kind of want to move past this pandemic. And I just want to get over this, okay? And I'm sure a lot of people are tired. A lot of people are stressed economically. And I think that it's just like our job to do what we need to do to get over this. So yes, sorry about that. And warning, counterfeiters risk prosecution. The FBI advises if you don't receive the vaccine, do not buy fake vaccine cards, do not make your own vaccine cards, and do not fill in blank vaccination records with false information. Okay, where is it? Come on. Okay. Yeah, we recommend you don't post photos of vaccine cards, of your fake vaccine cards to social media. Oh wait, no, we recommend you do not post photos of your vaccine card to social media websites. Yeah, because if it's fake, they'll catch you, and furthermore, why are you putting your information out like that? Anyways, I'm sorry.
For real.
Go ahead.
People
Go ahead.
are
Sorry.
weird.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh, is it my turn again?
Yeah.
I got distracted. Oh no, where'd the stream go? I lost you guys.
Oh
there
no.
you are. According to... you just want me to read because there's a weird name. Well, not weird, just one that I don't know how to pronounce.
I pronounce names I can't pronounce all the time. It's difficult, but we get used to it.
Saud Khalifa? I'm so sorry I just butchered your name, sir. But I tried. The founder of FakeSpot, which offers data analysis to help detect counterfeit items online, scammers have also been selling fraudulent vaccine stamps. People post, do you want the Moderna or do you want the Pfizer stamp?
Wow.
He told the Post. The card dictates where you can go and what you can do, he said. Some people might not want the vaccine, but they want to go somewhere, so they'll buy this fake vaccine card with a fake stamp and trick their way through the system. It's a shame.
Don't do this, okay? Don't do this. This is exactly why we can't have nice things. Yeah, like, dang it, I was eating and missed out on getting a copy of that spelling of T. Yeah, T. It was like T-I-E-R-N-Y or something like that. Hey, Alio, I don't know if did I shout you out? I'm sorry. Hold on. Yeah, and I want to come to... It might have
been a couple hours since we did.
And I want to come to the US and catch up with my friends, so get your shit together. I was supposed to be in the US 3 times last year, but unfortunately was stuck there once due to COVID. Yeah, I know, Champagne Socialist. Exactly, my point. Exactly. I'm tired. I'm tired of this crap. A lot of people are tired. People are genuinely hurting economically. People are getting like messed up seriously in terms of like, you know, health issues because they've gotten COVID. Because they were forced to be out there in the front lines. People have gotten really sick. People have died. I'm over it, okay? Let's do our part. Make sure you get your vaccine or schedule your appointment. I believe it's already starting to open up for the general public soon. If it hasn't already, please check your state. Please take the vaccine. Please do what you need to do in the meantime. Social distancing, wear your mask, wash your hands. If it's possible, and you don't need to go out, please stay home. All of these things are what we need to do while we get the vaccination records up, while we get more and more people vaccinated. This is not okay. Trying to scam your way out of this is not okay, and it's like not doing your part to try to get over this. Because honestly, just like Champagne Socialist said, I'm tired. You know, let's just get our stuff together. I like everybody's over it, okay? And it's because of failure of leadership that we've gotten to this point to begin with. And people are frustrated. I understand that, but that doesn't mean that we get to circumvent the system. in this sense. That doesn't mean we get to circumvent science and do this kind of stuff. It's irresponsible, and I think that it's all anybody is asking for is just to do the right thing and have common sense. And follow the healthcare professionals. Wear your mask, social distancing, try to stay home, wash your hands, and when you can.
But it's so hard.
Yeah, apparently it is. And when people have the opportunity, when your state opens, if it hasn't already, I believe starting either this week coming up, there should be openings for like the majority of states. Get the appointment done. And whatever it is that you need to do, and let's get over this. I mean, come on. I mean, understand that a lot of these have been also, if you guys are not, haven't been keeping up, I try to, but again, I would defer to Doc Midnight, but a lot of these upticks in cases are of the variants that are happening, okay? Are of the new variants, which are more virulent, and they're a little bit more aggressive. I believe B117 is the one that's like mostly concerning health professionals, if I'm correct. Most of the new upticks in cases are of these new variants. That means, hey, if we're gonna do our best to stop this from being endemic, meaning stop this from being a yearly thing that we have to go through, do your part. Come on, guys. Like, it's not some kind of governmental scheme. It's not 5G. It's not some chip that they're going to inject you. All of it on the face is doesn't make any sense and is not based in reality. And come on, guys. I mean, it doesn't make any type of
It's
sense.
definitely one of the little transmitter things. They're
Yeah, one of them 5Gs.
Everywhere.
Right, it's not your
They're
phone in your
drone.
pocket.
They're gonna have drone following me around. They can't track me on this.
Yeah, right.
But when I get that COVID vaccine,
then they'll be able to.
I mean, they're gonna follow me.
It's beyond me how like this stuff spreads on the internet, and it's infuriating. I've seen arguments online where they think if they get infected, they just go get the vaccine and they're cured. No, that's not what a vaccine does. In any situation, generally speaking, the vaccine is preventative, and if you happen to get it, it will severely decrease your symptoms, and it will give you the best possible outcome. So my state only has one community transmission in 11 months now. It has to be the best performing company in the world. Wow, according to the ratings of S&P. So the economic argument of lockdown starting the economy doesn't hold water. If everyone's hits it hard, then you only need a month or so to that. Thank you, Champagne Socialists. Thank you. You know who else is doing very dandy? New Zealand, who has one of the tougher lockdowns. They're doing fine. They're doing fine. They're doing amazing. They're completely open up. They're not struggling with constant like ups and downs and anything like that. They are at a point where they can freely go to stadiums and stuff like that. I mean, why? Because they took it seriously from the beginning. They hit it hard, and they hit it with whatever the consensus at the consensus of healthcare professionals at the time. So they hit it as hard as possible, and they took care of their people while doing it, so nobody would have to fake a vaccine card, to do whatever. Yeah, New Zealand has no immigrants unlike the United States right now. Yeah, we're not, like, we kind of have our border shut, so we're not really allowing immigration in that sense either, to a degree, Steph.
Really? I thought Biden opened all the borders.
Yeah, so no. I mean, we have immigration,
that's
but
what I've heard.
And also, New Zealand is isn't it like its own island? I mean, they shut down their airports to travel, which is probably a good idea. So yeah, I think that we should probably, again, they had very strict stuff. In that one community case, we had lockdown for a week and everyone wore masks, and then we were fine. Wow, amazing. And everybody participated in doing their part.
You mean people did something for their own benefit without the government telling them to?
Wow, amazing. Vietnam is now COVID-free as well. Yes, Vietnam also had everything shut down, and they made sure that people got food delivered to them and like stuff like that. So these implementations of stuff and aggressive measures were the key to success in all of these countries. The key to success was listening to the healthcare professionals and attacking it aggressively at the beginning. Not a year later, at the beginning. Your camera went down. All right, there it goes. There it goes.
You mean people who went to medical school for 8+ years might actually understand what's going on a little bit better than the rest of us?
Yeah, exactly. People are pouring into the border of Mexico. The highest it's
I
been in
never
50
would have
years.
thought that.
What are you talking about? Yeah, so to address that, yes, there is a unusual surge. The reason for that is because, well, number one, there's always a surge in immigration during these times, and number two, these are all the immigrants that happen to a natural surge, plus the people who didn't come in 2020. So yeah, that explains it. But it's nothing that is like out of the ordinary. To be fair. Like, it's not something that, like, oh no, it's now we can't handle things. But no, the real issue is the kids. The real issue is the kids, and the system of immigration that we have is broken. Is broken. We don't have the resources to do the asylum claims. We need more of that. I don't know if it has to come in the form of more judges. I don't know if it has to come in the form of like more processing, like ways of handling these asylum cases, because it is absolutely abhorrent that we have people waiting for years to get an answer, and that shouldn't be. So that shouldn't be. We shouldn't have people waiting for their process to go through for years. I think that that's like a clear indication. United States of America could send the money there instantly if they wanted to. Well, you bring up a good point. I think that we owe it to the countries in Central and South America to address and to help pour resources there. Correct. The immigrants aren't. You can't blame the immigrants for this one. So I don't know where the weird comment came from, but okay. To your point, yeah, we should send resources over to Central and South America. Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. I mean, you know, we've only been messing around in that region for decades, so yeah, we kind of owe it to them. I agree. Yeah, so just to be clear, immigrants aren't causing a surge in COVID. Okay, I want to be very clear. And that language gets used very dangerously, very quickly. So, yeah.
We ain't finna be having none of that here, guys.
Yeah.
So just don't.
They have no actual source beyond their Facebook science team. True.
Mm-mm.
I don't know what the implication is, or why the two are related, or why we need to be talking about one thing, versus the other. I'm not sure what one has to do with the other, because I believe the subject what we were talking about is fake ID cards. Yeah,
Nobody
fake vaccination.
Brought up immigration.
Yeah, so that's kind of weird.
Suspicious.
Got my eye on you. Yeah, be careful of that Facebook science. True. Okay, folks. Where were we? Sorry. Yeah, meanwhile, 46 attorney generals have demanded that Twitter, eBay, and Shopify take immediate action to monitor their platforms and promptly take down posts selling fake posts selling fake cards. In a statement to the Post global marketplace, Etsy said they were removing posts that advertise such items.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry. I was reading. Where'd you go? I lost you again. eBay told the Post the company is taking significant measures to block or quickly remove items that make false health claims or can be used to falsely represent a person has received the vaccine.
Yeah, TLDR, not good. As of December, eBay has removed or blocked 50 million listings that have violated their policies related to COVID, ranging from price gouging, toilet paper, and disinfectant wipes, items that made false medical claims. Yep, that's basically the TLDR. Don't do this. Don't be that person, okay? Listen to science. Why did you say, in fact, New Zealand was very strict with their borders? That's not what I said. You thought of borders. That's not what I said. I said they had strict lockdown implementations. Meaning that people were told to stay home, but people were taken care of while they were home. People were told to wear masks and all this other stuff. That's right, Donald and Melania Trump did get the vaccine in January. That's true. So yeah, the point was that the countries that had the most strict lockdown procedures did the best. I mean, even here, I'll give an example of what happened in South Florida. The biggest counties in South Florida, when this started, we had strict stay-at-home orders in the biggest counties, right? Even before the governor of Florida decided to even make mention of anything, the local ordinance, the local counties, especially the biggest ones, had very strong, aggressive measures at the beginning, and you'd see it like within the numbers. You saw in the times that it was being very strict, you saw that the numbers were pretty, on the nose of a couple of hundred cases, right, at most, right? They plateaued at this range, and then all of a sudden we let loose, and we are here now at 7,121 new cases, an average of 5,827 in the last week. So yeah, it turns out that like all of these measures worked. The 2020 technology exists to have biotech IDs for vaccination, but God forbid you suggest that for voters. Well, usually we have already the information on file, which is why you get a voter registration in the first place. That's how that happens. It'd be one thing if you had a ability to have the file of your vaccination record already linked somewhere. That would be different. Think of it this way, Steph. All right, and I'm trying to be very charitable. Think about it this way. Kids often have to have vaccination records in order for them to be at school, right? And quite often, that's already in your medical history. You don't need to get a separate ID saying that I was vaccinated. That's already in your medical history. Okay, you just need to prove that. That's it. So that's what voter registration is. And quite frankly, if you have a system where you automatically get registered to vote, none of this would be a problem anyways. Like, again, the core thing of a democracy is to be able to vote as easy, as smoothly, as accessible as possible. That's it. Does your vaccine passports have QR codes? No, I believe they don't. As far as I know. Vaccine fear mongering is getting really old and dangerous. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Were you here when we went over that? Yeah. Were you here when we went over that email? Here, I'll show you. I think I still have it. Let me see here. Yeah, I believe I still have it. Yeah, so here's exactly the type of language that is being used um, by someone who has a very large audience. And we went over this, so I won't go like over through the email. But the point being is, their latest attack against Christians is the fact that many of us refuse to get jabbed with an experimental vaccine for a virus with 99% survival rate among the vast majority of population. Yeah, buddy. Did you also see the study that 2/3 of people who have survived COVID have also had long-term effects, and some of those being neurological and psychological? I mean, come on. I mean,
It's not important though.
right, like the only thing that matters is the death count, ladies and gentlemen. The only thing that
The same thing that the same thing that they were saying was wrong with all the statistics being focused on for COVID, mind you.
right, and it's like, oh
Oh,
yeah,
they only tell you how many people die. They don't tell you how many people get better.
correct, and it's like, well, yeah. By the way, it's not just about deaths, right? The thing is, like, this is something that, first of all, is unprecedented. Second of all, it overwhelms. Just because you're not dead doesn't mean that you're not taking up a precious ICU unit. Doesn't mean that entire wings of hospitals have to be shut off because COVID is very infectious. So they have to shut off entire wings to be able to deal with COVID patients while not being able to aptly handle other emergencies and stuff like that. So there's a lot of domino effects that happen, not just the death rate. So this idea that it's like 99% death rate is like infuriating because it doesn't get the full grasp of the problem. Okay, not only is, if you survive, not only is it possible and probable, I mean 2/3 is like 66% possible that you have long-term, sometimes permanent health conditions. Second of all, that doesn't mean that other people aren't suffering because they can't get the care that they need because the hospitals aren't able to keep up. Third of all, that also means that like all these people aren't able to work. Okay, I mean, like, this takes a lot of different domino effects in terms of like healthcare. Like, this is why the best argument for healthcare is this. I mean, like, we see how bad our system is failing, and like, we don't do anything about it. But yes, sorry, I'm getting a little bit off the track. The point is, it's not about death rate. Okay, it's not, and even with a 99% death rate in a year. Okay, it's about a year, right? At this point, a little over a year, it's killed more than 500,000 people. I'm sorry, but that's a lot. So if you want to talk about numbers for a virus, yeah, Gab mail, that's right. I just pulled out my pre-COVID password and it's a stamp and writing from the doctor and pen. So yeah, there is a nonce you could easily fake it. Yeah. That's a problem, champagne socialist, and that's a problem. Unbelievable. Yeah, the
People
TLDR.
are crazy, fam.
Yeah, the thing is, like, this is where the type of rhetoric it came from. Like, somebody was saying, like, oh, why would I take a experimental vaccine? Well, yeah, this is why like this type of rhetoric is dangerous. There's real life implications. Okay, this guy has a large platform. What you say and how you say it matters. Okay. That's a very relevant point. COVID and pneumonia, resource intensive. You don't know who the 1% is going to be, and you have to assist everyone to make sure it's only right. Exactly, and like, but no, I'm not saying that it's not relevant. I'm saying that people focus too much on the death rate without realizing that there's other domino effects that also are going to contribute. You know, I mean, people don't like think like what domino effect having these things are, because like you said, COVID and pneumonia, it's very resource intensive. You don't know who that 1% is going to be. Yeah, out of the 99, and you have to assist everyone to make sure that it's only 1%. Yeah, you have to keep the death rate as low as possible, of course. But my point being is, like, people try to twist that and say it's only 1% people that die when they don't realize that it's a whole other domino effect that can happen, which will turn back around and up the death count. I was in the hospital for pneumonia at the beginning of the year, 24/7 care. Yikes! I'm sorry to hear that, friend. Jeez.
Ammonia is rough.
Yeah. All right, folks. It is close to 4 o'clock, so I do have to get going. I do have a couple of things, and I honestly need to like take a break and lay down.
Yep.
Yeah. It's about that time, so I'm gonna make sure we get a channel to
Nap
raid.
time for us old fogies.
Hey, look at that. We'll head on over to Dirtbag's stream. They're actually, since we couldn't really do like as much Among Us, we're actually gonna head on over to Dirtbag's stream. They're playing Valheim, so I'm pretty sure that you guys can continue the chill vibes. With Dirtbag, he's pretty good. And they're playing Valheim, which is Viking Minecraft, basically. So I'm pretty sure you guys are gonna have fun there. Yeah, first time came out of the blue. We always wondered what it was. COVID. It was just before COVID kicked off, and I travel a lot, so maybe. Yikes.
Ooh, I'm just glad you're doing better.
Yeah, for real. Please, folks. If you guys, please take care. Take care. See ya. Yeah. So stay with us. We're gonna head over to Dirtbag stream. Phenomenal person. Please go share. Please go show some love and continue the chill vibes on Dirtbag stream. If you guys enjoy the content, make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you head on over to the YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. It really does help us out. And if you thank you guys for supporting the show. You guys are what makes this happen. If you guys want to support the show, there are many ways of doing it with subs, biddies, donos, merchandise, all this other stuff. You guys are what makes the show happen. I appreciate all of you guys. Please stay tuned with us. We're doing news and politics Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern time. You can also join us on the Discord. If you guys want to keep up with the channel, follow us there, join us there, and of course on all the social media. I appreciate all of you guys being here. As always, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. We love you all, and we hope to see you guys in the next stream.
See ya.
See ya. Alright, folks, stay with us. We're gonna raid Dirtbag is pretty chill. Cool cat for sure. Happy Caturday. Yes, and we did have a cat today. So yes, pretty chill. So I think that the chill vibes are to continue. Let's head on over there. Let me get this raid going. Alright, folks, stay with us. We're gonna head over in 5, 4, 3, 2, and
1.
let's go.
Bye.